What's going on, guys? Credit Solutionist here. Thanks for joining the Solutionist Experience on this beautiful Friday. Tonight, we have a very, very special show for you. A very special person I wanted to bring on because of her IT experience. If you are looking to pivot your career this year and you aren't sure how or you don't have the experience, this is going to be the show for you because jumping into tech is going to be a lot more easy than you thought it was. So I'm going to bring on my very special guest that we've all been waiting to bring on and see tonight. Without further ado, here is Miss Fareedah James. Hey, girl.
Hi. Hello, you too.
So glad to have you on. And y'all, don't even trip on Miss Fareedah. She just got off of work from her IT job and she jumped on with us, okay, on a Friday when she could have been sleeping.
Yes, and I have to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning for my shift
Netflix
tomorrow.
And chilling, right?
Yeah.
But you are here with us, and I so appreciate you, y'all. Right here, this is what you do, all right? Anyway, Miss Fareedah, you and I had a conversation not too long ago, and before I start gushing over you and your talents, I want you to go ahead and tell the group who you are, what you do, and all that good stuff. All right, the floor is yours.
So my name is Fareedah James. Right now I am an IT engineer and I work for one of the biggest retail online retailers. You probably know who they are, and it's Amazon, of course, but yes, I do work for them. I work in various facilities, like fulfillment centers and things like that. Basically, just a disclaimer first, though, I just want to say everything that I probably will disclose, it'll be my opinion, my experience, my insight. And so I'm not really speaking for Amazon in that sense or anything like that, just disclaimer. But I hope that, I'm able to, give some sort of insight if anybody is looking at trying to make a career pivot, if they've wondered about going into IT and thought, well, am I too old? Am I too do I have to know a bunch of math or all these other things? And I'm just here to kind of demystify that based on my experiences and what I've been able to accomplish and learn throughout my journey. So.
I love that you said the word demystify because, of course, on the thumbnail, we talked about being a lady in tech or a girl in tech, which I think is fantastic. And speaking of Amazon, girl, I look like I work at Target today, but y'all, this is my brand. Okay, this is me. Solutions. I don't work at Target. But listen, okay, so I'm so glad that you mentioned that you work at Amazon because if we listen to the headlines, we would be under the assumption that Amazon has not let their people stay. So I'm surprised that you are telling us where you work, but thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can give my experience and my my interpretation of what I see and things like that. But yeah, as far as what everybody's kind of seen and heard in the news in terms of the layoffs, yeah, those are real. And actually, my team was impacted, and I knew I have other fellow engineers that that were laid off in that. So it is a real thing, and layoffs happen, but you do have to keep these things into perspective. Of course, you can't let the news and things like that hype you up to deter you from going into any kind of field or anything like that, because layoffs happen in any industry vertical, irrespective of what you do. You could be in a union and get laid off. I mean, if whatever organization or company you're working for does not have the funding or the resources to continue, then those things have to happen. So, and they are unfortunate, but I think it's important to maintain perspective, to understand that there is possibilities in the tech game, particularly in IT, because that's generally where people start before they decide whether they want to go into other things, cybersecurity, they want to go into development, and as far as applications and things like that. There's so many things under the umbrella of tech. But, just to clear the elephant in the room, and everybody's seen the news, the layoffs are real. They're happening. And it's just, companies right now, particularly the larger public companies, the FANG companies, your Metas, your IT, let's see, Apple, not Apple, actually, they didn't do any layoffs, ironically, but I know, yeah, Facebook and HubSpot and all these other tech companies that have just been up in the news lately.
Hmm.
They've let off, at least 10, 18,000 of their employees and things of that nature. So
It's a lot of
there are,
people.
yeah, it's a lot of people, but like I said, again, there's perspective in it. And when we go through, I can talk a little bit more about some of the things that I would look out for to kind of give you some leadway or some kind of, uh,
Some expertise, girl.
just so that you can, make wise decisions in terms of what you want to do with your career if you get to that point. So, yeah.
Okay, so listen. Girl, I was trying to avoid that topic altogether, but it's okay. I'm so glad that you touched on it because I would have been
Hmm.
just jumping in my seat the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about it though, because, okay,
Hmm.
I did say that you came home and you're in your work clothes right now.
Yeah.
Now, people would not assume that you worked in IT because you're wearing reflective gear. So let's talk about
Mm-mm.
it. What is your career? Actually, let's start at the beginning. What
Hmm.
is your background? Do you have any degrees or any kind of certifications, or what
Hmm.
does it take to go into IT at Amazon?
So my educational background is actually in the behavioral sciences. I have a bachelor's in psychology and a master's in educational psychology with an emphasis in teaching.
You
And
didn't tell
so,
me that before.
yeah, I kind of got that. I had it in the back pocket, but I don't really lead with it because I'm obviously not working in the field. I
Right.
was working in the field. Actually, I was working my previous role with the University of Utah.
Hmm.
I was working with them, and I was, actually was using my degree, but then I became kind of disenchanted with the whole behavioral science and the PhD route. And I actually
Okay.
wanted to make some money and not be, kind of a poor PhD student. And that whole role it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And so,
Mm.
I don't regret my education, but, things happen in life and, you never know where, I'm one of those 90s kids that was told to go to college and just get you a degree and stay off
Same.
drugs and don't get knocked up or anything like that. Just go to school and do anything, and then you're good. And then all the debt and all the job changes later. Nobody tells you about that, but yeah. So I mean, that's just the reality of where I think a lot of people are. They've at a certain age they've gotten education in other fields that they're not working in. And the nice thing about IT is you can change that really quick. It's really easy to get the education to
Hmm.
get and really just to get into an entry level position. You don't necessarily need to have a certification or a degree in IT
Yeah.
to do that.
And I
So.
think that's so interesting that you say that because on my end, people think that to go into credit repair or even to have a business as it were, they think that you have to have certain types of certifications. Most of this stuff, you guys, whether it's IT, starting a business,
Mhm.
pivoting, getting promoted in your career, unless they specifically say you have to have a degree or
Mhm.
some kind of certification, you don't need it. You literally just need the nerve to get up and do it, and that's
Right.
it. Now,
Yeah.
you talked about all of this education that you have going in, before you went into IT and how you just found it like not satisfying at all.
Mhm.
I think it's very special. And I'm happy that you said that because I think that there are a lot of people that share your sentiments and they need to see that there are still people out here of a certain
Mhm.
age. Okay. Cause
Yeah.
I mean, you and I were about the same
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
And it's like you're preaching to the choir because I can relate
Mhm.
to exactly what you're saying.
Mhm.
You start maybe the first half of your life on this trajectory going into this office life with your degree and we're not even sure where we're going to end up, right?
Mhm.
But then something happens and we pivot and we shift.
Yeah.
So I am interested because you are a highly educated woman. What made you go into a field that doesn't necessarily require any of that knowledge or paperwork or debt?
Okay. Well,
What was the
so
pivot?
the pivot was, as I was leaving. I left my role at the university because it was just it was just time for me to transition on to other things. And at
Mhm.
that time, I was working with WordPress and other. And I was doing websites and working with WordPress themes and building themes, and so I was getting my I was building my technical acumen on my own as a self-starter, basically. But after, you're doing that, you're freelancing, and you're really not, and that's a whole nother beast in and of itself. I needed a job. So Salt Lake City, Amazon came to Salt Lake City, and they brought the first fulfillment center in 2018. And so just I just decided to, hey, I need a job. So I started as a packer. I packed, packages, basically. And I started in that role. And I did that for about a year. And then after I got out of the packing, and then I did quality assurance. It's called ICQA. It's just basically, we do a lot of audits, and we do quality checks on items that are in the fulfillment center, and we just take out damaged things, we just disposition them and things like that. So I did that for a while, and then one day I was working with some IT people that were working in the facility that I was in, and they just said, "Oh, this is what we do. We're in IT." And one of the women that I was talking to, she's like, "Yeah, you should just go and apply," And she was telling me, you don't really need any certification, just at the entry level. Later on down the road, you want to do that, but you don't necessarily need to do that right now. And so I kind of just decided, okay, well, let me think about this. And so I went on the Amazon website, and I just researched how to do behavioral interviews. I researched how to understanding some basic fundamentals to IT, just so that I could at least sound like I knew what I was talking about in the interview. I really tried to make sure that I was prepared as much as possible. And you'd be surprised, most of these companies have all of this information on their website, or if it's internal, there's some documentation about about these things, about how companies want you to interview, and they'll explicitly tell you. Amazon's very public about that. The leadership principles, you got to, I made sure that I understood those, just so that I could be ready for, these interviews and things like that. And I just submitted an application, went through my first round of an interview, and I got hired. I got hired as an equipment coordinator, as an entry level, which didn't require any certification. It was just basically working in the IT cage, working with IT equipment. So in that time, I just basically took things apart. I started looking at circuit boards, looking at hardware, printers, scanners. I just made sure that I just wanted to know everything in and out. I just wanted to know about all of this hardware, provisioning switches and switches and other networking hardware and things like that. So that gave me so much experience. And just to kind of go into that, that's usually the hardest part for most people getting into IT, is getting that first entry level gig. And for me, I feel like that's where your warehouses, your corner store, any other business that's just not the big shiny tech companies, but all of those businesses require some sort of tech, IT, or information systems personnel, whether they outsource that from a private company, or they have somebody in-house. So I learned that basically during my time as an equipment coordinator. Then I found out that, so once you're in these roles, the expectation starts ramping up, and you're expected to promote. You're expected to become a technician, and that's what I did. I had to learn everything that I had to learn to become a technician. And so again, diving deep into the hardware, and really just making a conscious effort to apply everything that I learned in things that I learned on YouTube, or books that I've read, or any kind of material. I tried my best to just apply it in a practical sense. And so that helped me become a better interviewer. I was able to promote to a technician. I did that in a year, and then became an L4 engineer. And
that sounds so official, girl.
Yeah.
When you said L4 engineer during our last conversation, I was like, okay, so when are you coming on my show? Okay. Now listen, what I think I heard you say is that you went into Amazon as a person that was working on the warehouse floor.
Right.
somebody just felt compelled to put a bug in your ear and say,
Hmm.
hey, you should be thinking about IT. You need to
Hmm.
move up because whatever reason, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And you literally just took the bull by the horns and became self taught. So,
Hmm.
can you tell us about that? Have you always been that way as far as a take charge kind of person? Like, is that a personality type that we need if we're thinking of going into IT?
Yeah, I will say that
So, we
because
have to be a self starter.
you do have to be self-motivated. You do have to be the type of person who's resourceful, who will
Hmm.
read documentation, who will, listen to yeah, Udemy courses or listen to, courses and any type of continuing education. You
Hmm.
can't just, IT moves too fast. The technology iterates too quickly
Hmm.
before you can say, oh, I know it all. I'm just going to kick back and then, but it doesn't work like that. You have to
Right.
continuously be continuing your education, and that
Hmm.
also goes into getting certifications and other ed forms of education. But you have to, and that's something that I learned that in technical roles, you are required to promote. You can't just stay at a I can't just stay at as a technician indefinitely. You
Hmm.
will that it's not a good look. And then there comes a point when those skills become antiquated. You really
Wow.
have to be a person who has a internal motivation to want to do that. And it, I think that's where, you have to decide, am I that type of person or can I become that kind of a person? And I think anybody can. I think we live our day to day on YouTube and social media, and we consume
Right.
so much content. You could find an hour in your day to watch a Udemy course on learning a technical skill. And those
Yeah.
courses are literally $10. And if you work for some of these companies, a lot of times they'll give you those resources for free, so.
Girl. Okay, and we are going to
Mhm.
touch on that later because, okay, guys, the reason that I have Fareedah on is because, she's in a network of people that, in the social media sphere. That's how you
Mhm.
found me, and
Yes.
and now I'm talking to you, right?
Mhm.
I think it's so unique that you are saying that as far as being a self-starter, because I think a lot of times people think, oh, well, I didn't graduate with a computer degree or something like that, right? And like I said, what I hear you saying is that it's literally just finding the resources,
Mhm.
getting yourself educated in your spare time, and then hitting the ground running. Because, like you said, it's evolutionary, it's
Mhm.
revolutionary, it's
Yes.
moving 1,000 miles per minute. Forget a
Yes.
mile a minute, right?
Mhm.
So it's insane. And when you, like I said, when I was talking to you, but offline, I thought, oh my God, maybe I should go into IT.
Mhm.
Like I'm seriously thinking about it now because it's like, dude, this is a new frontier. And I think that people that look like you and I, meaning Black women, let's be
Mhm.
honest about what I'm
Yes.
saying here.
Yes.
I think that this is such a unique opportunity
Mhm.
because when you and I were probably kids in the 90s, it used to be,
Mhm.
oh, get a job at the post office, work at
Yeah.
the phone company, right?
Yeah. Get a
And
state job.
now, right.
Mhm.
And then, because I remember even my mom, she worked at the phone company like Pacific Bell, right? When
Mhm.
it was way back in the day. And
Mhm.
there were one or two women that were techs in the field, and
Mm.
everybody looked at them like they were nuts. You know what I mean?
Wow.
It was so unheard of. But I
Mhm.
think like I said, having women like you come to the forefront to talk about this is so special. And you guys, if you have any questions in the chat, please ask them because I'm going to give Fareedah about a year. She's
Yeah.
not going to be available without paying. So y'all need
Yeah.
to like get the questions in right now because I know you have some. And just
Mhm.
the way that you fell into IT, I think is so special. So we have our first question here. And I mean, I got a bunch for you, but let's go ahead and let the audience participate as
Mhm.
well. And guys,
Okay.
obviously, you guys know the drill. If you're comfortable, let us know
Mhm.
where you're watching us from,
Yeah.
okay? And if there's tech in your area.
Yeah.
So we have a question here from Naami. I'm gonna guess that's how you say it.
Mhm.
Nami Anaya. Thank you for your super chat. I appreciate the
Mm.
199 helping the
Nice.
cause. And guys, drop a super chat, drop a cash app, and again, likes, the likes are free.
Yes.
So she's asking you, do you have any thoughts about new techie with course careers? I'm not sure what that means, but you understand that lingo?
Mm. Well, I guess from what I'm gathering, any thoughts about new tech with course careers? Well, I think, well, if you're if you're interested in any type of the various careers within tech, because tech is one of these like I said, big huge umbrella terms. You can there's courses, to decide whether, do I want to go into programming? Do I have the temperament just to sit and code? Well, let me see if I, just go on YouTube and watch some of those coding videos, and if that doesn't drive you nuts, then yeah, maybe that might be your thing. Or or go on to, I that's why I like you, YouTube, because you can kind of survey kind of what's out there, and then you can go look at like courses and maybe invest in certain courses that, depending on the price points that you want to. That's what I kind of do, see what's kind of out there on YouTube, what some of these guys are talking about, and then go buy a course and then deep dive into that. But for like, the careers right now, that from what everything is AI, machine learning right now. So anything that you're going to be doing, even the things that I'm doing in my current career, is involving machine learning and AI of some sort, and automation, of course. So whatever technology stack you decide, whatever, your temperament, you feel like that is, you're going to be doing something with AI, you're going to be doing something with machine learning, you're probably going to be doing something with automation. So you're going to have to learn how to maybe code a little bit, or learn a scripting language or something like that, because that's where if like I said, you just see what Microsoft is invested in, look at what Apple is invested in, look at what Intel and NVIDIA, all of these companies are all incorporating some sort of AI into their technology, into and of course, AWS. They
Don't get me started, girl, because I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something that they don't want me to say with you on the screen. Okay, listen, I want to change perspectives about IT. Now, I am obviously okay. I thought about it. I technically am affiliated with a tech company, so I do work in tech in a weird way, and it took me a minute to realize that. But it feels weird saying I'm a tech person, though, because I still have that idea in my head about what a tech person is. But I want to dispel some of the rumors, because we typically think it's a person with like 5-inch thick glasses, right? We think that, no, seriously, and we think that they have the pocket protectors with the legal pins and all that kind of stuff. The thing that I love about IT, though, is that people don't really think about this on a wide scale. Let's say that when you go into work and you log into Kronos, or another one is UKG, which is a timekeeping system, right? Those are IT companies, you guys. Like, whoever processes your paycheck, if there's a software that you log into, or check your vacation, or take your trainings for your jobs, those are IT companies. Those are software companies, right? They offer these products to these companies. And not only with IT do you have to sit behind a computer or code or anything like that. There's tech sales, you guys, the people that sell these products to your companies. There's a million and one ways to get into tech and say that you are a tech professional, right?
That's true. I actually have some very close friends that from that more old work colleagues that actually they promoted into AWS, and their role is it's called the TAM. It's a technical account manager, and that's essentially what they do. They're like the conduit between the business and the technology. And so they have to have a technical understanding, but they're really kind of working in kind of a more of a sales kind of a role. And well, maybe not selling, because the tech is already sold, but they're offering a concierge kind of a service, in a sense, to these companies, so that they can maintain their infrastructure, and Amazon can have them as a customer, and then you have this great relationship and things like that.
So yes. So let's talk about that, because I think that people need to expand and broaden what they see as IT. And here's the thing, you guys, we understand there are certain things that go on in workplaces depending on what you look like. Okay. These people got quotas to fill, and they don't want some of us in those spaces. That's okay. Because here's the thing with tech, a lot of that doesn't matter. It depends on your skill set, because nobody has to see you with some of these jobs. Okay. We just need to know that you can get the job done. Am I right, or am I making stuff up?
No, this is true. And I'll tell you this. So as a part of my job, I'm the highest point of escalation, so that involves me being on call. So if
Mm-hmm.
I have to get out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and drive up to one of the many fulfillment centers that we support in the node, and somebody feels some type of way and thinks that I might not, listen, I'm all you got. So if you really want your production to keep moving, we're just, I can just go right back home and I can just tell my boss, you're blocking my work because this is how it's going to be. You don't have to tolerate any any foolishness really when it comes to that. One thing I will say, yes, these things happen. Yes, you're going to encounter, people with, narrow worldviews and things like that, and
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of craziness that people, take off of whatever they're consuming, and then they bring it to work and bring it to you, and you're supposed to be
Right.
like, what the hell? But what I will say is this: a lot of companies, they take they're now taking this diversity, inclusion, equity, inclusion a bit seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Because um, these companies don't want to get sued. They don't want that
Right.
press on them, because that could affect, their stock. Tesla. They had a case where the guy, they kept calling him the N word, and he got $1 million. That There's a woman from Amazon. She will want to suit. So,
Mm-hmm.
when you're in these roles and you're higher up and you're making that big money, that 2 and 300,000 K, which is very common,
Mm-hmm.
you are in a position where you have resources, and
Oh, it's extreme.
if those things are if those things are a problem, you can be litigious about those.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually, you can sue these people and sue these companies, and they will have to publicly admit that, these things went on, and that doesn't look very good. And like I said, I can speak for, where I'm working. Amazon does take that very seriously in terms of their in, equity and inclusion and things of that nature. So there's portals, and there's ways that we can escalate
Mm-hmm.
any type of interaction that we get that is sketch, or anything like that. If somebody's giving us microaggressions, we can
Mm-hmm.
escalate that, and there's an ethics hotline, and it gets dealt with very swiftly. They're very at least I can say, and from what I've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're across other companies, if you work at any other company, just know the protocols and know what the channels to raise those escalations, and at least get a paper trail going. Because one
Mm-hmm.
thing, like I said, if you can sue these companies, you might work for a what is it, a right to work state, but they don't have the right to, break any federal laws in terms of, allowing certain behaviors to work to proliferate in their workplace, especially if they're getting government funding, and especially if they're, a big publicly traded company, $1 trillion company, that it kind of looks bad on them in terms of,
Right.
the overall stock price and things like that. Because that's another thing you have to think about too, is when when you do get into these roles, at least in my position, we are compensated with stock. So you are a shareholder, and you have to behave as such. And so, like I said, with all of these things, you really have to know all of these channels, and then, it gives you leverage. You do actually will have some leverage in terms of those things. So, like I said, these things happen. You could be. I mean, it could happen. Your leadership could be, unsavory. But
Mm-hmm.
like I said, as long as you say, you have to vocalize it. You have to vocalize it, and you have to really follow up with those channels and really make a paper trail. Because what is it, the EEOC? What is the regulating body that where you can actually make these complaints to? The they 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 they
I think
take
it
they
is the EOC.
ELC, yeah, they really do take those things seriously. So be litigious. That's what I've, and like I said, I've seen people in much higher levels, level 6, level 7, do that, and they weren't in technical roles, and they were just going through their day to day, and they didn't like what was going on, and they sued
Mm-hmm.
them. So it's very possible.
Girl, This is why I love this, because I'm so enjoying seeing people of color in these
Mhm.
spaces because like I said, when I was a kid in the 80s and the 90s, it was again post office, get your
Mhm.
government jobs,
Yep.
go into the military. But even
Mhm.
there are tech opportunities as well.
Yes.
And I just, like I said, the goal of this channel and bringing different people on is to show folks that it's the time is now. The time to
Yes.
pivot is now. If you're in a
Yes.
job and you sit in front of a computer, there is tech behind that computer, and you
Mhm.
want to be a part of that, right?
Yes.
Because we're at a point in society now where you can't even flip a burger without the risk of a robot replacing you, right? So I think, like I said, it's very important that people hear these kinds of conversations and they don't just associate IT jobs and IT professionals with the stereotype, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I like that you touched on that there are avenues, and that the affirmative action and things like that are still the inclusivity is still
Mhm.
something that is promoted in these fields, because
Mhm.
a lot of times people do not think that people look like you and I in those spaces. So that brings me to my next question for you, Fareedah. I know you work for the big A. Now,
Yeah.
are there, and even maybe not just with that employer, but are there people, just if you go to a networking event or a group that you found online that you just commiserate with, are there a lot of women or men in the space that that look like us? Like, are we there, is what I'm asking.
Not necessarily.
Okay, so they need more of us, is what I hear
It,
you saying.
yes, we oh, of course, we need more representation,
Okay.
particularly in tech. And I think if we were to leverage tech in that sense, I mean, in a sense, maybe even dominate it, like,
Hmm.
we should, that's something that we could really lean into, because
Hmm.
there's so many avenues and so many different things and so many different ways to express your talents with technology, that
Hmm.
if you're a creative person, there are roles in tech for you. If you're an analytical person, if you like data, there's roles
Hmm.
in tech for you. Exactly. So
I'm very
and
analytical.
so I think all, and the thing is now with our, like I said, with the way that we consume content, with the way that we go through our day to day, and even just going to the store, we're interfacing with technology. We're interfacing with a
Yes.
platform, with a kiosk, with
Yes.
a piece of AI or something like that. We're that's just a part and parcel of our day to day. Why not know how it works on a fundamental level? Why not
Hmm.
know how to build something that you could monetize and profit off of? Why not, become an educator and teach other people these skills? So there's so many ways that you can be, but we can be ourselves, be black, and be in this space, and
Girl,
really, hmm
I'm
because
gonna tell you this. I see the most massive opportunity for us here, because
yeah,
this is one of those where we don't gotta be loud and boast about it. We could just slide on in there, y'all, and make an
hmm
impact. Because listen,
impact,
yes, because the fact that these layoffs do happen, and I talked about it on a previous live, but a lot of these people that are getting laid off are in other countries, y'all. They're
yeah,
not even from here. So my thing is this: if they are wise enough and smart enough to even get into tech and they're not fearful,
hmm
what are we waiting for? That's my
yes,
question. Because, see, like I said, this year is really about becoming economically strong and a
yes,
lot more educated in the space of money,
yes,
right? And it's not
yeah,
just about fixing your credit or doing all that kind of stuff. It's literally, okay, where can we plant ourselves in these
hmm
industries, these growing industries, right? That don't necessarily require, I hate to say this, but they don't really require soft skills. They don't
yeah,
really require having to get up and dress up every day. They don't really require, they literally require brain power, and that
yeah,
is it. So
yeah,
what a unique opportunity. And I think
hmm
that if we can kind of pivot into that and use the
hmm
brain power a little bit more, and like really tap into that part of who we are as people, I think that we could really make a splash over here, because there's an open space for us to dive into
yes,
if we focus on that instead of what we don't have.
right,
You feel me?
I,
Because I love
mhm.
that you said you got certifications and that's how you slid in, right? But it started with listening to somebody that said something out of the box to you,
Yeah. And like I said,
right?
yes, it was literally just, taking that chance and saying, I'm just going to do this. I'm not going to have any trepidation about whether this is going to, pan out or not. I was pretty confident that because I guess I'm more of a technically inclined person anyway. However, I work with people who, weren't, you know, technically inclined, and they learned and they became able to pick up these skills. And then, once you have that, like I said, once you have a good fundamental understanding of networking systems and operating systems and all these varying different systems, then you can go and get those certifications, because you will need to get them, and you will need to get an education. You will need to get a degree. I don't want to be remiss, misleading and saying, oh, you just get in there, because once you get in there, the expectation is that you will go and pursue those things. But we shouldn't be so scared to think that, oh, I don't have it yet, or my age will be in the way, or I got to work with all these nerdy kids, and I feel awkward. No, and I'll say this. So a part of my job too, also as an engineer, I actually do interviews. I actually interview. I interview candidates that are going to be my level and below. So I've interviewed entry level positions. I've interviewed engineers and technicians and things like that. And I will tell you, we incline also of at any age. We incline men, women of over 40, over 50, with gray hair and in long resumes from like the 90s. So that doesn't that wouldn't deter you to that wouldn't be a barrier. I've interviewed people from all walks of life, and you'd be surprised the people that do get hired and the people that may not get hired, and a lot of it has to do with preparation. But for the most part, there's no, at least for me, there's no stereotypical individual that I see, because of the way that we work. I work in a fulfillment center. I work in a warehouse. So when I engage on my day, I am actually hands on with a lot of the hardware. I'm actually hands on with our data center. I'm hands on in all of these other technologies and things like that. And I'm working with other vendors and other trades. So I work with a lot of electricians. I work with all of our robotics teams. We supply the underlying network connectivity for all of the robotics and all of these fulfillment centers. So help desk isn't just sitting in a call center, doing level 2, phone fix-its or whatever, but you're actually really hands-on. And support is I sometimes I hate when people kind of downgrade help desk, because we all need help. Everybody needs help desk. Everything needs support. There's no technology out there that is just a one and done, and you're never gonna need help with it, or any kind of maintenance or auditing or anything like that. That's what we do. We are essentially site reliability at the local level. So,
girl,
yeah,
if you
we're
want to
there.
talk about having some real control over something, that's what I'm talking about right there, because I see, I hear what you're saying. You literally said you keep the lights on.
We do.
And here's right, because when we think about it, okay, listen, I'm gonna tell my little tech story. It's probably gonna bore y'all to tears. I worked in a call center one time when I when I was like 20 something, and
everybody did. I think everybody did.
so listen, I knew already I didn't want to deal with people unless it was on my own terms, right? Because people be mean. Like, why is my bill so high? It was Singular Wireless, y'all. Singular was a mess back then. Now, I used to work in the call center, and I remember one day, like this one of the IT guy or the tech support guys came down from the upstairs, and I used to always wonder, what the hell do they do up there, man? Like, they look so relaxed and happy, my lord. And they worked in the top floor. So I remember talking to one of them, and I think my boss at the time could tell I didn't really like being on the phone with people. But also I had a long handle time, because everybody knows I like to talk a lot. So I would be, oh, do this, do that, do this, do that. And I'd always be trying to tell them to do technical stuff. And they're like, look, you got to go up to technical support, because I think you would just be better there. And I thought, okay, let me do it. best job ever. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
want to work in a call center, go
Yeah.
into the tech support for
Yeah.
a wireless company.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, when I would talk to people on the phone, they would be so nice. They would just
Mm-hmm.
get done cussing out the representative. But once they got to me, girl, they were like, hey, oh, did I
Mm-hmm.
turn my phone off and on? Hold on, let me do that real
Let me do
quick.
quick.
Girl, but I say this to say that I should have seen the writing on the wall back then, because this is back before text messaging. This is
Mm-hmm.
before like I guess three-way pagers were like the height of what the public was really
Yeah.
seeing at that time. This is
Right.
before the iPhone, because remember
Right.
Singular turned into AT&T.
Right.
So
This
I'm
is
out
Nokia.
there.
This is Nokia.
This
What?
is
Nokia.
Nokia, the little indestructible Nokia phone. That's what I used to deal with. And then
Right.
they had this one, and then the Palm Pilots, which weren't us
Mm-hmm.
technically, but then we got them, and
Mm-hmm.
BlackBerry. So you had
Blackberries.
these
Mm-hmm.
devices, but they were so foreign to people. You had to be
Right.
rich to have them. So at
Yes.
that time, I was privy to so much technology in the back end. Like people didn't know in 2004, we could read your text messages back
Yes.
then. I used to log in and read people's texts while they were talking to me on the
Yes.
phone.
Those are the wild, wild west days.
Y'all, we could see
Yes.
everything. We could see obviously what
Mm-hmm.
tower you were on right at that moment. So if you
Yeah.
said, hey, it's not working in my home area, I'm like, sir, you're in New Mexico. You live in
Right.
California. You're not
Yeah.
home right now. Why are you lying to me? So it just talking to you refreshed my memory, because I'm like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, I've totally worked in like a tech-esque environment
Yeah.
before
Mhm.
and didn't give myself credit for it. It's so
Yeah.
crazy.
That is true.
But
That is technical support, and wireless companies, phone companies, telecommunication companies.
yeah.
One of the colleagues that I work with, he ended up promoting into Twitch gaming. That's another one of
Hmm.
our little side. But he came from a credit union, doing telecommunications for a credit union. So
Hmm.
it looks so. I mean, you'd be surprised. There's so many ways that tech support is
Needed.
is needed, and it's offered, from call center
Hmm.
to, in the field like I am, and then we have
Hmm.
other escalation teams that and they're just another level above us, but we're
Hmm.
still kind of in the same. We're doing the same job. We're still site reliability. I'm at the local level, then we have someone who's on a regional level, who's
Hmm.
maybe, working with several, with a couple of states in a region, and so we're holding down all the sites in the node. So we're all kind of in the same. We're all, we have the same goal in mind, and we have the
Hmm.
same customer in mind, because at the end of the day, our job is to maintain these facilities so that the uptime is 99.999%, and that's a real number. That's what we have to maintain, and we do it, and I don't know how, but we do it. We maintain it, and when the high severity issues are there, then that's when I'm there, and I get called out of bed at the middle of the night, and I solve the problem, and then and whatever that is, every site has a different technology stack, so
Hmm.
it's, you never know really what you're going to be looking at. What am I going to be in the big data center, or am I going to be with a little tiny cabinet, maybe, a couple of, devices in a cabinet or something like that. um,
Right.
we have delivery sites where we just have Rivian trucks in, and I mean, there's so many different things that I get to see on a day-to-day basis, so it's
Right.
really, it's really actually, like I said, my day is very varied. I don't have, I mean, I have routine things, of course, but,
Hmm.
like I said, the type of problems that I have to solve, I mean, it just, you never know. And so that's why you have to continuously be educating yourself. You have to continuously be, reading up on, okay, Cisco is coming out with, there's a bug in a Cisco device. And so you
Hmm.
just know about that in case, you get to a site and that switch is doing something. You have to know, you have to be reading up onto these things and things like that. Also, you're not going to know everything. You're going to have to get good at researching and finding articles and knowledge bases with, internally. They'll have SOPs for you and things like that, but you
Hmm.
got to be able to read. Some people don't want to read.
Girl.
That
And
that's the
okay, and let's just go ahead, and because I know we got 13 people watching right now. All right, y'all doing all right with the likes, but I know some of y'all ain't hit the like yet. I know you haven't. I got 13 people but 14 likes. which is good.
Yeah.
But if you have not liked the stream yet, y'all, please like the stream. And like I said, it's very rare that you get to talk to or touch an IT professional just in a relaxed, carefree environment, especially when they just got off of work. Okay. Because Fareedah ain't even got to mess with us right now, but she is. And I love it. So,
I
the
I'm
maths. Let's
good.
talk about the maths, girl, because people get
Yes.
intimidated about the maths. Do I need to
Okay.
know math to become an IT anything?
So on my day to day, I'm not doing logarithmic equations and all these crazy.
Girl,
No,
that sounds like Espanol to me.
no, we're not doing that. But well, I will say this: if you're going to go into data science, if you're going to go into any kind of uh, role that's going to be highly analytical, you're probably you're going to have some fundamental knowledge of some mathematic principles. I mean, we have to learn some math principles in terms of like binary numbers because we deal with MAC addresses. There's concepts in information technology that you're going to have that are going to be, that are going to kind of open the door to some of that stuff. But it's not like you have to be a mathematician and you're not going to be solving equations or having to figure anything. It's not like that. Usually a lot of the tools that we use automate a lot of the stuff that we do. So we just need to know how to find it and figure it out and turn it on and get it to go and just use the automated tool to do whatever we need to do to provision whatever device to, bring network connectivity back to, whatever. We have tools that do it. You just need to be able to find it, and you need to be able to look through the documentation to find it. Being resourceful is really what your biggest, I think, skill set is going to really rely on a lot.
Yeah.
But I guess
Critical thinking. It takes critical thinking.
and yeah, you really have to be able to critically think and problem solve. If you
Yes.
can problem solve, then that's really we're the ultimate problem solvers. That's really what we are. We are the ultimate problem solvers on steroids. Um, and that's really where it is. But I mean, is there some math? Yeah, I would imagine, at those roles that require it. But I mean, again, unless you're trying to be work for an actuary, or if you're trying to, I guess I don't even know if they're even doing that. Come on now, are they really sitting around with an abacus and a TI 85?
I
I
love
mean,
abacuses.
I
Abaci.
know,
What is a plural of abacus? If you guys know that in the chat, tell me what's the plural of an abacus.
and
And if you're
I,
if the girl, some of them are probably too young to even know what an abacus is. But anyway,
know.
um,
But yeah, even look at, accountants, they're not doing a bunch of they have software that does the math for them, but they understand fundamentally, okay, this number needs to be this number because I can still do my times tables, things
yeah.
like that. Most of the math you're going to be doing is very rudimentary, and things like that. But a lot of time, like I said, most of the times these companies, they don't want you just going in and just doing whatever on their systems. They're going to have documentation, standard operating procedures that they want you to follow. You just need to understand, okay, I know the difference between a switch and a router. I understand a difference between a server. I understand, what a motherboard looks like on a laptop. I understand these fundamental things so that when I read this documentation, it's not, I can actually follow the instructions and solve the problem. And
Got
really,
you.
a lot of times it's really just that simple.
Mm-hmm.
But no, as far as like math on that level, not in my day to day. But
Mm-hmm.
like I said, if you're in those other roles where and like I said, I don't even know if they're even sitting there, with a protractor and all this other stuff. Like I said, I think they have software, they have AI tools
Yeah.
that are doing that for them, and yeah, that
Girl.
enables them to really, work on the bigger issues and really, solve those bigger problems, and rather than just trying to be tedious about some, equations and things like that. So, but I do know that people get dismayed. I understand that people do get,
Girl, they get
they get
frazzled.
I don't know. They want me to do all. I'm like, well, I mean, I understand that the K through 12 school system is not really, gaming these, most of the generation up to really be stellar mathematicians, but that's a whole nother conversation. But like I said, it's nothing that you should feel that you wouldn't be able to have a career. And like I said, we're really not doing that. There's other things that are very pressing and important that monopolize our time for the most part.
And here's the thing, y'all, because look, if you don't want to do the mathematician stuff, go into sales. Then do something that is not sales or that's like math heavy. Like even when I do auditing, and I probably shouldn't say this because the paperwork I audit, it goes to the federal government. So here's the thing. I am not a mathematician. If it is not, and I'm an auditor. I'm an auditor, okay?
Yeah.
In addition to credit repair. So here's the thing. And credit repair is numbers too, y'all. Y'all don't think that, but it's numbers. When you call me for a consultation, half of y'all been calling me about budget stuff lately. That's numbers too.
Yeah.
I give y'all such simple math. It's so crazy. The only math you truly need to be real, I'm just going to be real for the most part. You need to know how to add and subtract.
Yes.
You need to know some fractions. You need to maybe, know how to move a decimal point here and there. That's it. Because guys, again, the world is so tech focused. Half of the math you're going to have to do in a lot of these positions is going to be already on a spreadsheet, or it's going to be pull up your damn calculator on your computer. Do you know how often I do that every day?
Yeah.
Seriously. It is just, if somebody made a spreadsheet, you could get a spreadsheet on Etsy. Let me stop because I'm about to tell everybody all the secrets. But you literally could go buy a $5 spreadsheet and just make sure that, the cells are correct, but it's not that deep. And even your accountant is using software. So stop letting your tax preparers, okay, all of that. So stop letting the math thing get in your way. And consider this. Every part of our life involves math. You're afraid to do math and add and subtract and all this stuff, but let your check be 50 cents less than what you thought it was going to be.
Wait.
All of a sudden, we're mathmaticians, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we know calculus, we know whatever
trigonometry. We started getting into we started doing derivatives and
look. So the ability to do it is there, even if you have to. Let's say you got to do it for three months, right? Let's just say you got to take a class for 3 months just to get the knowledge. You're probably not even going to use it for one, but just do the damn thing to get the certificate or whatever you got to do. And with the chat GP, whatever it's called,
chat GDP,
you're not even going to have to know the math anyway.
Like I said, a lot of this technology, it's because the way the concept is that human beings need time is really that precious commodity. And if we're still doing these rudimentary calculations, that's not the most effective use of our time. When we have technology that can do that for us, it's not that we don't, but that doesn't mean that we don't understand the fundamentals. And like I said, I guess maybe this is where the K through 12 education system, okay, then
okay, I will tell you this. I'm gonna tell you where K through 12 gets it wrong in some aspects, because a lot of people don't, like, I don't know if they believe me or not. I really don't care. But like, I was a gifted kid growing up. I was always segregated from my classmates and put into special gifted programs. So I always felt guilt about that. And I remember when I got to high school, I literally said to myself, I want friends. So like, I don't want to be effing smart. Like, can you stop putting me in these classes? Because bro, you're alienating me, man. So that was a mistake, though. If I have children, I will tell them, hey, get your butt over there and be smart. Okay.
Be smart.
But I remember, kind of being segregated from people because they treat you differently. And I don't know how it is now, but looking like I did as a kid, it didn't match. It was like, is she really as smart as she is she really?
That's too bad.
But it was all common sense stuff. So I was like, how do y'all not understand this? Right. And like, they purposely did not let me advance as far as like grades and stuff, because in that school district, for whatever reason, they didn't promote that kind of thing. Right.
Yeah. Mhm.
But anyway, so yeah, you're always segregated. So I know that that's a part
Mhm.
that bothers a lot of young people,
Mhm.
particularly young people of color, because we don't want to feel left out and we want to be with
Mhm.
our friends.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say about that, just kind of to segue into what I'm going to go into, when I got to high school, like I said, because I knew what I wanted to focus on, which wasn't what I should have focused on. But it's like I wanted to be social.
Mhm.
So in my school, I went to what's called a school of choice. So I did
Mhm.
not have to go there, but I chose to because it was a special type of school.
Mhm.
So they would give you college courses in the school and they would encourage us to go to college after we got off at 3 o'clock. So I did that, right? I got college courses under my belt freshman year of high school. I took
Mhm.
the advanced classes that, would, so I wouldn't have to take them when I got to college. I
Mhm.
did all of that. But here's the reason I did, because on the back of every door in every classroom, they had it where it said, this is what you need to graduate.
Mhm.
This is what you need to go to a Cal State. This is what you need to go to a private university like Harvard or
Oh,
whatever. So
okay.
they literally broke down everything that we needed in the curriculum.
Wow.
So I literally sat in class every day and I was like, what do I need just to graduate? What do I?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's the one I'm looking at, right? And there's
Mhm.
nobody really encourage you to do otherwise unless they throw you into AP.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
think for us, a lot of times, maybe it just is based on where we grow up, or
Mhm.
I'm saying this to say that you,
Exposure.
yeah,
Exposure.
and your life can pivot in a totally different direction by
Mhm.
high school. Let's be real,
Yes.
because had
Yes.
I kept going, I would have been at somebody's Ivy League. Let's not front, right?
Yeah.
If I had really
Mhm.
pushed in, but like I decided, okay, I'm going to get enough to go to to a Cal State, but
Yeah.
that's it. That's all I'm doing. And I
Yeah.
technically graduated early. But
Okay.
what happens is these schools, depending on where you are, because this was a school of choice, and I'm gonna move on, girl. I just
No,
be yapping. But
it's okay.
because it was a school of choice, they wanted more heads in the classroom. So they would not
Mm,
let me graduate early. I literally had to sit
interesting.
there and keep taking classes. And I'm like, y'all, I'm done. Why am I here,
Yeah.
bro? Like, why? Right.
Mhm.
So that discouraged me too. But anyway, I went to school to be social. So that's where I screwed up. And I think that sometimes, even if you put a kid in a gifted program or a high school that promotes college education from the
Mhm.
onset, depending on that child's motivation,
Mhm.
parental guidance, because
Yes.
I was so smart. My mom did tell me, like, I don't worry about you. She said, because you're gonna
Mhm.
get it done. I'm not
Yeah.
worried about you. Where it's like,
Right.
damn, like you could have pushed me a little bit, because like
Yeah.
you can't leave a 15-year-old today on devices. I'm not going to school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I ain't gonna talk about
Mhm.
my whole high
No,
school career because it was a
that's
mess.
funny
But
because I have the same kind of experience. Like I did early college, not early college, but I did a
mhm,
vocational program that was
same.
concurrent with my high school program, and then that's when I started learning about IT. Really, was back in high school, but it
What did you
wasn't
take
really
at the
what was.
vocational school?
I took like DOS. It was like this was back in the
I
day.
did medical assistant, girl.
Oh yeah, I think I did like you could do like a bunch of different classes, like
Yeah.
pharmacy and all these crazy
Hmm.
classes. But the thing
Yep.
is it was an opportunity to get exposure to careers, jobs, real jobs, other than just what what was going on in your. I mean, in my high school, it was just we had the same thing. We had AP
Hmm.
classes and we had. I think I was kind of a different person because I didn't follow in a lot of the footsteps of some of the people that I, was going to school with. And
Hmm.
like I said, our senior year, like literally only 50 people graduated because it was a rough one. But yeah, it was crazy. Lots of a lot of drugs, a lot of teen pregnancy, a lot of just crazy stuff.
We had like one or two girls, and then they put them in the continuation school in the
Yeah.
back.
See, we had a school in the school so that the everybody could stay all it's Utah, so But
Oh, I
yeah,
didn't know you were in Utah as a younger person too.
I went to high
Oh,
school out
okay.
here, and yeah, it was interesting. But
With
yeah,
all the Mormons and stuff? Are we allowed to
uh,
talk about them, or no? Or is
I'm
it
I'm not a
Joseph Smith? Is he gonna come get us? Is that who
I'm
it
not a
is?
member of the I'm not a member of that organization, but I work with a lot of people who are and stuff. So, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. I mean, I think um, the state has. I think there's some changes though, because a lot of people have, there's a lot of growth and a lot of sprawl here. So, and
Mhm.
it's also an international city, so we've got I see a lot of Somali. I see a lot of people from all the different African diaspora
Right.
represented here in Salt Lake City. It's kind of interesting, and it's a very international city. So that's not so much of a, well, depending on where you are. I mean, in Salt Lake City metro, it's not so much of a thing for the most part because you have so
Hmm.
many implants here from California and
Hmm.
New York, and a lot of people who didn't go to Texas, and they came here and they bought houses here. They drove up our market. So before
Girl.
we went from 1 million to like 3.4 million. I mean, that's,
Oh,
yeah,
we're
really
sorry.
good.
We're sorry. You
No,
know.
but, no, I mean, but Utah has it's got its cultural challenges too. And I think if you're not
Mhm.
in the dominant society, I think I think I can speak on the fact that I have challenges with the culture here at times, and stuff like that. Just being black in Utah and in everything that's involved with that because of the history,
Yeah.
19 to 1978 thing and everything like that. So, there is that to reckon with. But now we've got a lot of black people that are in the church. You got Gladys Knight. She's doing her thing.
Girl, I didn't know she was one of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
she converted.
But I love, okay, this is what I love about it though.
Hmm.
And everyone needs to really take heed to this. Tech is a lot of numbers in the sense that ones and zeros. Okay, that's all we're looking
Yeah.
at. That's
Hmm.
all like most of this is. The screens we're looking at right now, ones and zeros. That's all it is, guys.
Yes.
The literally, I'm gonna say this and be done with it. The universe is based on numbers, y'all. Like
Hmm.
everything is numbers. Life is numbers.
Hmm.
Okay, you
Yeah.
quantify everything in your life by numbers.
My
Okay,
numbers. Hmm.
everything, even the
Yeah.
color of the damn weave that you put in your hair got a number to it.
It's a number. Everything's a
So,
number.
yes. So I'm
So you
like,
can't be
y'all,
scared of numbers. But
and it's
that's
universal. It's a universal
hmm
language.
it is, and that's the thing. It's one of the things that crosses and transcends languages and cultures is math.
Everything.
But it's like I said. I hope that people do not become um, deterred because they think that I have to be I have to be so left brained, and that's not a thing. I guess that I work with people who are are that come from various backgrounds, and we
Mhm.
have conversations about the stock market, and because we are stockholders, we do talk about these things. We talk
Yeah.
about the trajectory of the company, and we talk about tech in terms of what's going on, cutting edge. These are the these are cool conversations, different conversations than I had when I was working in the pack line. I'll say that. But
I'm not even gonna go there because
it is what it is, and that's just my experience.
look at you.
It's a different conversation just because of what we do and the nature of what we do. We have different conversations. We really have different conversations from our other counterparts within our other support teams that operate. We just we are focused on technology. We are focused
Mhm.
on our mentality is technology focused. Our mentality um, is is finance focused. We value these things. We're not the wokest people in the world, but I think we do have some elevated conversations, especially with our leadership too. And I've been blessed
Mhm.
kind of because I do have a pretty cool supervisor, and that your leadership, trust me, your leadership can make or break you. And that's another thing in tech
Mhm.
you need to really be mindful of is who your managers are and who your supervisors are, and on the and that up the chain, their bosses and their
Mhm.
bosses and the VP, all of that. You need to be able to be visible to those individuals, and it's easy to do. It's really not. I get to I follow our regional, our super regional for our node, which is the West node. We're the Mountain West node, so we're Utah, Idaho, and Oregon.
Mhm.
So and ironically, he's the first Black super regional, which is I don't know how to feel about that because at this point, Amazon's been around for a very long time, and at some point they didn't have another um, Black person that was qualified to be at that role for. I sometimes I just but he's there first, I guess, to celebrate. So there's a lot of that's why we need to be in these roles. That's why we need
Yeah.
to be be that representation. That's why, I don't get shook. I'm the only woman. I'm the only person of color, I guess, if you want to say a black person,
You're a little
um,
token. Ain't nothing wrong with a
amongst
little
my
token.
colleagues. And I don't get shook by that, because somebody's got to be a representation. Somebody's got to show you that, look, we got to be here. We can be here, and we have the right to be here.
Yeah.
And nobody is going to dictate, our destiny. At least that's the way I see it. You
I
have to
love
be
it.
that aggressive, and you have to be that intentful. You have to have that intent
Have
to
intent.
just say, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and this is the space I'm going to occupy. I like me. Your like is extra. I like that Erica says that.
I was gonna say,
You
Grace
know?
LA, Miss Erica Williamson channeled. She done came into the show. Now,
Yeah.
listen, I love that you said that, because I feel that this is a way for us to really get some agency out here. And I'm gonna just say this, and then we're gonna hit to the comments, okay? Because I think I got a couple more questions for you, but we're gonna go through the comments and see what people are saying here.
Okay.
And if you guys are finding this helpful, let us know. Put a 1 in the chat. Give me an alien if you are from way back. You already know. Okay. I think this is a great opportunity, because if you listen to the internet, women like you and I, we have apparently slammed into the wall, and nobody's going to take care of us.
We've hit
So
the
why
wall.
not?
Everybody keeps saying, I don't
So
understand that.
why not go and let's all of us over 30 women, over 30-year-olds, let's just go on and go into tech, y'all, and become the rich auntie. Why not? For me, I'm like, look, if you're gonna tell me that, I'm cool, man. I'm gonna find somewhere to put myself and get my coin right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna be offended. So I feel like right now, again, because there's this IT rush that's really been happening for the last 40, 50 years, y'all. Let's be real. This has been happening forever, but now, because certain industries or certain companies have such a, I don't want to say low barrier of entry, but because it's been kind of, the bar has been lowered, in the sense that I think it's leveled out. I don't think it's lowered necessarily, but I think they need so many people that now is the opportunity for a lot of us to get in. So if you're in a particular part of your life and you're feeling like, okay, I need to pivot, this current thing is not working. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough of a network. I'm just burned out with what I'm doing. I really do feel like IT is a unique avenue for us. I really do, because you can go to any country, you can go to any state, you can go to any company, and they need your skills.
Yes.
What are you going to do with that art degree that you got, person that's watching right now? What are you going to do with that?
Not a damn thing.
Besides call PX Credit Solutions after you done seen one of my videos because you got student loan debt. What are you gonna do with it? Let's be real, right? Even the business degrees, they teetering on useless now too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not dissing, because I almost went to school for communications, because I like to talk, but that's before YouTube came along. So don't even need a degree for that now. But I think it's a great lane, and I hate it to just bring up the hit the wall thing, but a lot of people like to say stuff like that, and I'm like,
yeah,
y'all, but this is a space where honestly all of us could go and just be rich.
Yeah.
Let's just go be rich together over there, okay?
Like I said, a lot of the average age is not that 20 something. I mean, I guess maybe in some there may be some businesses or something, some niche, I don't know, but you're going to see people from all ages and all walks of life, people who have technical, some people who don't have technical backgrounds. You'll see so many different, so you'll just see such a diverse amount of skill sets and backgrounds, that there's just, for me, there's just no reason to feel, and I get it, that, if you've never been in the space, how will you know? And it does bring about some anxiety, but the more that you can talk to, people like me, or people who work in IT and other capacities, or who do other, technical or non-technical roles, they will tell you that really what matters is, do you have the experience? Are you credible? Are you able to do it? Are you dependable? Do you have a track record of doing this before? Those are things that are very objective. And like I said, if as far as I'm concerned, people can feel because you have to be like that. You have to really divorce that kind of anxiety and all of that second guessing stuff, because
Mm-hmm.
I need my mental faculties to solve problems. Because when I show up, you have operations and they're like, we need to get this conveyor back
That
on
part.
now. We need this
That part.
AR floor back on now.
Yep.
What's your ETA? Well, okay, then I can't get caught up in being insecure about things. I have to think. So you really get to a point where you just can't get shook by that kind of stuff, because
I
let
love
them
it.
feel that, and then they eat the crow when you solve the problem and everybody gets to go home and you just saved a couple $1 million in productivity costs, because that's the kind of money that you're talking about with a large fulfillment center that's
Mm-hmm.
got packages dwelling, and it costs them money. It costs them money when things get that keep turning around logistically within the
Mm-hmm.
center. They make money when that item is on that truck, and
When there's a
then bam,
flow,
it's
there's
been shipped.
no
Once it's off the
right.
dock and it's on the truck, it's shipped. It's UPS's property now. Then we can actualize the profit. Like, we'll charge your credit card at that point, because that's when you'll see because when that item's shipped, that's when we charge your card. So that's how that's where the profit center is. So
Right.
if people are like, I want to go get somebody else, well, then you can wait till tomorrow,
I love
and we'll
it.
see if
I
you still
love
have a
it.
job, because
I
I'm
love it.
coming back. I don't know if you will, but I'll be all right. So, and
Imagine
that's
being able
what
to
it
go
is.
to work and talk like that. Or we don't talk like that out loud. We talk like that in our heads. But like imagine having a skill set, knowledge, experience to be
Hmm.
able to say that. And
You
then
have
to be
to.
able, and then
Hmm.
if it don't work out, walk away because
Yeah,
another company needs you right now.
because your skills are in so much demand. One thing about the layoffs, I will say this: it's a lot different getting laid off from a Google or uh, a Microsoft than to get laid off from Popeyes. It's completely different. Let me tell you something. Some of these companies, the severance packages that you see, and you could just go on LinkedIn. Just go on LinkedIn and
Let's
look.
hold on. Let me preface this because I want to prepare people because I might turn this into a little clip for Rita. So get ready,
Mhm.
girl. Let me take this off so they can see who you are. Okay. So Fareedah is about to put you up on game about what is really happening with tech layoffs because I see a lot of people piping up, putting out all these sob stories and all these fear mongering
Yeah.
videos on YouTube and every social media platform that make it seem like woe is me for these IT people. Fareedah, let's talk about what really happens
But the
with
real deal, Holyfield.
with a tech layoff. Are they destitute? Are they desperate? Are they clinging their cups for change outside
If
of
you're getting a check,
McDonald's?
if you're still getting a check for 5 months after you've been formally let go, and you're still getting health insurance, and then you're getting paid a week for every year, you're getting, I don't know how they do it, but they give you so much time based on your tenure. On top of that, you get to vest out all of your stock. You get to, I mean, some of these packages are just, well, damn. I mean, I'm like, well, some people volunteer for that stuff too.
Should I be
So,
crying for a tech person that honestly probably took the layoff voluntarily and got
yeah,
paid?
there's
Should I feel
people who
bad for
did
them?
that. There are people who did that. There are people who did that. And they, I mean, and of course, not everybody did that. So, no, but this is the perspective. This is what, let me change I can't really hear too well. I'm going to change my headphones really
All
quick.
right, hold on. I'm gonna
Really
let me see
quick.
if I can remove you from the stream. All right, I think I'll have you in the background. Let me know when you're ready. Okay, give me a thumbs up or something. Okay, y'all. So listen, this is the point that Fareedah is trying to make right now. What we got to do as people, I don't care what color you are at this point, okay? And I'm not like no pro black person like that. I'm pro get your skills up and get seen, okay? I don't care if you're a man, woman, whatever it is. This is a open, wide like horizon for us right now. Doing the old school office thing, working a job for 40 years, y'all, that's played out now. They looking at you crazy if you go and try to get a career and want to stay at the same company for 40 years, right? Because unless it's nepotism, why are you there that long? Because now you're looking stagnant. Now you're looking like, wait a minute, this person doesn't want to leave. wait a minute, this person is trying to get some seniority, but ain't gonna do nothing with it. So do we really need this person here? Right? It's like that one dude that sat in the corner in that movie Office Space that was always talking about his damn stapler. If y'all remember that, he was redundant and didn't even know. Right? So some of us are sitting in our jobs every day and we're redundant and don't even know it. Are you good to go? All right, you're muted. Take yourself off mute, girlfriend. Let me see if I can. Okay, hold on.
All right.
Hold on. Got you.
All right.
All right, but I
Okay.
was just telling the people, a lot of us are going to be redundant, or we already are, and we don't realize that we are. So
Yeah.
tech for me is like, okay, even this cup, there is a technician behind the machine that put this together.
Yes.
There's a technician behind the material that this cup is made out of.
Yes.
There's a technician behind the conveyor belt that this came off
Yes.
of. There's a technician, again, that does the payroll software that paid the person that stood there and stared at this come off the conveyor belt.
Yes.
Right? There's tech behind the dispatch that got, where these got put in the truck and got delivered across the state or the country.
Yes.
There's tech everywhere.
There's tech everywhere. There's tech in every facet of our. When you think about when you go into any big box store and you think of how those items got there, and you have to remember there's large distribution warehouses and smaller warehouses that just deliver things to other warehouses just so that those goods can logistically efficiently move between stores and whatnot. There are
trains, the rail system, the railroads all across
the railroad, all of that stuff has some sort of information systems component, if not fully, partially to some degree. And they have teams. They will probably have very robust teams, and specialized, even depending on. We were talking about some people today that work for FedEx and how these they were network engineers, and they were working on ways to make the sorters faster. So whatever they were doing, whatever scripts they were writing to automate, because you're probably automating a lot of the software and things like that, all of that gets pushed down to every single device, and puts it in a state of readiness, essentially, without getting too technical about it. But basically, all of that stuff. I mean, this is FedEx, but imagine the tech that's involved, and the people, and the engineers, and the principal engineers, and the whole organizations that are needed, the manpower that's needed in order to accomplish something that we think, oh, it's a sorter, it's just shipping letters to cubbies here and there. No, that's a very, very intricate system, and it requires lots of algos, lots of probably intersecting technologies in terms of maybe some of the stuff is on the back ends in the cloud, maybe some of the stuff that's happening on prem. Maybe they've got logic controllers that are controlling, listening for items that have fallen out, and then it does some kind of logic to redirect that. You'd be surprised, just every single aspect of how we can get a good to a customer requires so many hands, technical hands, to get that moving. You can only do so much with bodies. I did a job called rebin, and it was you basically sorting items out of a tote into a chute. But it is one of the most labor intensive, backbreaking jobs that you could probably do, in a warehouse. And I thought to myself, what, how could we automate this? And until I went to another site that I'm supporting also, and then I saw how their robots just come right up to the associates. So they cut out an entire, like I said, they can rework the logic to any, and this is with any warehouse. This is just, with specifically with Amazon. And you can actually, this is actually public. You can go to, there's some documentation about when they acquired the Kiva Robotics company. And now that's now formerly Amazon Robotics. They tell the whole story about how that whole thing happened and what they plan to do in the future. And it will let you know that warehouse work at some point they might not need as many people because
Yeah, for sure.
they'll have robotics, or another thing that will happen is because the landscape changes. If you're in retail,
Mm-hmm.
what people are buying will change. And then if people are not buying certain items, well, then we can just, maybe shift things around within the center. Maybe we don't need this piece of a warehouse. Maybe we
Yeah.
can decommission a building, and then we can still, keep our customer needs up. But we can work the tech to, work with labor shortages, to work with pandemics, to work with these things that come up where we're not able to um, man and staff these stations and provide these services.
Mm-hmm.
That is coming, and I've seen iterations of it, not only just where I work, but all over the place. Fast food, grocery stores. You go into a grocery store,
Perfect
Costco.
segue. Perfect
You
segue,
know,
sister. Because I
so
got you.
it's
We gonna
it's.
school them real fast. Hold on, sis. We gonna school them because they don't know. Take a breath, Fareedah. I'm gonna let you catch your breath because you've been telling us game on top of game on top of game. And the only reason I'm going long, send me a smoke signal, sis, if you need to log off because I know you got
Oh,
off
no,
work.
no,
All
I'm
right,
good.
y'all. If you are not believing what this IT professional is telling you right now, I want each and every one of y'all in the chat to look up Robot Lab Group. I know
Mm,
y'all have seen those robotic dogs. That's been the talk of the town on social media right now because there was an episode of a show called Black Mirror where they had robotic dogs, just like this black one in the center here, you
mhm.
guys, and
I
it was
saw that.
equipped with and it was equipped with automatic weapons as well as scoping technology, X-ray, all that kind of stuff. This is real life, you guys. There are companies out here doing this right now. Now, that's not the point I'm trying to make. What I'm trying to make, as far as pivoting off of what Miss Fareedah was talking about, there are school robots, and Google actually just cut ties with robot labs for whatever
Mm,
reason, where they are no longer providing software or something like that. So the robot lab guy is off doing this all by himself, and he
mm,
has a ton of videos on YouTube. The actual CEO, the owner of this company, Robot Labs, um, has videos out, and his videos get like 5 views a piece.
wow.
I'm eating him up because he's so personable, and
Wow.
he is literally the leader in what's going on right now, and nobody knows he
Interesting.
exists. He's out there, and it's like he's right there. He's out there saying, "Hey, Google did this to me, but I'm going off, and we're going to do it. We're going to still get it
Mhm.
done." So anyway, they have school robots. So even your teachers are going to become obsolete, okay, at some point. All right. And like I said, with this chat GPT, I'm going to learn how to say it, y'all. But even with that, with the implementation of that, your essays that you write, those aren't going to mean anything because they're going to know that you did it through one
Mhm.
of through some prompts, right? They're going to know that. So that system's going to change. But anyway, school robots, hospitality robots, okay? So they're coming for everybody. Okay, now they have it where a robot will walk up to you. This one right here, you guys. The robot will walk up to you in a lobby, tell you where to go, help you check in. It'll be that customer service, that soft approach, that person that you need to talk to.
Mhm.
That eliminates like a good chunk of a staff, right?
Yes.
So there's that. We have restaurant robots. I had a friend that commented on one of my videos that she went to a restaurant and the robots brought her the food. She went to a Denny's, and I told her, "Hey, this has been the thing in Japan forever. Okay, it's just a thing, right? But this is what's happening right now. So when we were shut down for that year, this is what those salespeople were going out and promoting this to companies, to fast food restaurants and things like that. So even your server, even your cook in the back is getting replaced by a robot.
Mhm.
Cleaning robots, right? Now, instead of saying, oh, this is going to knock out all of the janitorial companies, not necessarily. Why don't you implement this in your business? Why don't you make this part of your cleaning service, right? Cleaning robots, assisted living robots, because you all, not y'all in the chat, because you are all good people, assisted living people, they have nobody to come see them, nobody to come take care of them. Okay, nurses are tired. They're leaving the field right now. I think it was Erica that just talked about it, right?
Mhm.
These are women that are degreed, but they made their money and they're done.
Mhm.
So they got to be replaced by somebody. Assisted living robots. Y'all better holler if you hear me, because this is
Yeah.
game right here. Go look up the Robot Lab group, you guys.
Mhm.
So delivery robots. Can I tell you a story, Miss Fareedah? Can I tell you a story, sis?
Sure.
So Everybody knows, at least maybe they do. Now they gonna know. I used to live in Hollywood, California.
Yeah.
Okay. And I used to drive around sometimes because I did Uber Eats right before I started my business because I needed to get some extra change to throw it into the business. So I would work my work from home job, and then I would drive around at night. I'm gonna tell you, I was delivering food, right? So I was already thinking, oh, these cooks in these restaurants and these people at the desk, y'all are stupid. I'm replacing you. I'm Uber Eats, man. Girl, while I was driving, delivering this food up into the Hollywood Hills, there was robots delivering
Mhm. Yeah.
food, sis. And I would see these robots going down the street like all lit up. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I got onto the Robot Lab website, they're delivery robots. So
Yeah.
even your gig work is getting replaced, y'all.
Yep. Yep.
Even and these grocery stores, restaurants, they are
Mhm.
taking on this technology. It's happening right under your nose, right?
I think at a certain point, some of these applications I think are needed, especially like with the assisted living and
Yeah,
maybe
for sure.
some aspects of uh, teach, especially with the teaching. I mean, I don't know how the current situation right now with 6-year-olds shooting teachers in the classroom. All of these things that are going on. I mean, I think there could be an argument for an implementation of robots in some sort of capacity within education. I mean, Zoom school, through the pandemic, that was kind of a hit or miss thing, but
Mhm.
I could see having a robot or something some sort of AI that or platform that a person or a student could interface with, ask it
Mhm.
questions, be a tutor, maybe even help them talk about problems and issues that they have, at home and things like that. That could, maybe be something that could be worked into, like with Child and Protective Services could be, they could have a lifeline into that. So I do think that there's definitely valid use cases, even though it might seem a little, Skynet for some people. You're not going
Them
to have a
dogs, they
choice.
lost me with the dogs. They lost me with the
Yeah,
dogs because I know
the
what that is. I know what that is. They lost me.
Boston, if you see Boston Dynamics, they've got some really, really crazy robots.
You said Boston
That
Dynamic.
Yeah, they're huge. Boston Dynamics, and of course,
Uh-oh. Girl, I put Biston.
Mhm.
Oh, no, go ahead, girl. I'm
But
sorry.
yeah, Boston Dynamics, now they are really innovating some things that, and I think they're, yeah. You see that bad boy right there?
Wow. Wow.
Hmm. Yeah,
Y'all,
yeah. There
if
now
we
this.
don't jump into this, we are
Hmm.
tripping.
And you see where you see all the put some that arm put that box on a conveyor belt. Yeah. So those warehouse jobs, it's a one and done. So you're gonna have to get a skill set. You're gonna
Yeah.
have to be a technician who can fix things like this, who can get into, because that's what we have, a robotics team that they do that. They work on the Kiva robots, and that's what they do, and those skills are so needed because these are going to be the devices of the future, without being so you know bombastic about it, but this is what it is. So I would just try to, okay, well, how can I become a technician, on a robotics technician? Well, ironically, Amazon has a program for that too. So, like I said, all of the companies, and not just, like I said, I'm just talking about my experience. I'm not speaking for the company, but I can say that from my experience and what I've seen, other companies, public companies, tech or growth companies, follow suit. And they are very suited in the tech space. So, what they want to do is they want to, instead of having to, maybe hire, they want to try to, internally, apprentice and, game up their own, the internal, employees that are already working there. They want, associates off of, to come from the pack lines to go into robotics, or to go into IT, or to go into app development or something like that. They want that because they don't want you crying to them about not having a job once they put these robots out there on the line. They will, they
Yeah.
these companies, they'll explicitly offer educational resources. And so if people are choosing not to take advantage and they want to do TikTok videos, because those are getting dealt with, trust and believe, if they want to do TikTok videos or
Girl.
find ways to waste their time and they don't think these things are important, they figure, well, I got 10 years down the road, but 10 years, you don't know where you're going to be. You don't know what your situation could be, and you don't know what the job landscape will be because you've been so out of the loop. And so that's
Yep.
why I always encourage people to get in there as soon as you can. Right now is the time, and not be deterred, and look, these people are sitting on these phones and they're trolling people and stalking people on social media and looking up IP address. You can learn the stuff that I learned. If you can do that, if
That's what I'm
you can
saying.
make fake
Like,
accounts and you can do all this other goofy stuff, you can learn how to, you can learn some of this stuff. That's just what kills me. See, people tell me, oh yeah, I found all this stuff and I did this on Snapchat and then I took it to here and I did it. And I'm like, but you still don't
misdirected energy.
yeah,
Misdirected energy. And
you know, you
that's our problem. We're very distracted
mhm.
because like even me showing them the robots, a bunch of people dropped off. And it's like that right there though is
It's a
how you kind
reality.
of know where your average that's where your average person's mindset is. Like I
Mhm.
said, I
Yeah.
thought I was really doing something, delivering some food, and the robot had me beat and I didn't even know it. I was ready to go kick the thing over because I didn't know what it was. I thought it was like a spyware thing.
Mhm.
But I was going through this site, and I promised I said I was going to go to the comments. We're going to do that in
Yeah.
a second.
Oh,
Now,
well.
asset management is what these robots are doing with the Boston
Yeah.
tech that I just saw right now. Now, they literally are teaching these robots to go and spot leaks. They're going into
Yep.
areas that are too hot for people.
Yep.
They're going into areas where there could be some workers' comp
Yep.
things happening. I would
Yep.
replace that person with a robot ASAP.
Yep. That
Just
it.
saying that would be on the table for next
Let me
year's budget cut.
let me tell you
Yes.
right now with workers comp, just what you said, we're talking the millions that some of these companies are spending. So
Yes.
yeah, they have no problem with putting a robot on the line if in with the idea of safety. If it's going to make that job safer and then we're not going to have injuries and we're not going to have to be liable for people getting killed because people driving forklifts, people are error prone. People, they don't always pay attention. But
And this, they're always on this,
on
and we know
this.
because they're on TikTok. We know that. They're
It's
on
it's
TikTok.
it's being dealt with. Let me tell you, it's being dealt
So,
with.
okay, girl. So now you've been with us for a minute, and I so appreciate you. So let me go
Yeah,
through the comments real quick,
yeah,
and then I want to actually show people how easy it is to get into these courses.
mhm,
And like we'll wrap it up, girl, because I feel
mhm.
like I want you to get some sleep.
I want to give a little bit of game here too, just before we go in. But
Go
this is
ahead.
some. I think this is really what's important. I think one of the things that you're going to have to do when you, because I posture this when you do, not if or what. No, when you guys do, and your audience does, when they decide that they want to do the pivot, just know that there are things that you can do to stay ahead of the curve in terms of understanding when the layoff is going to happen. One thing that I always advocate for people in my role and above, start listening to the earnings calls. If you get a share of stock, you are a stockholder, and your job could depend on it. Even if you're not trading or options or anything like that, you work for that company and you're given stock as a part of your compensation. That's what you eat with. You need to be on that call and you need to be able to listen to hear what happened. I mean, because honestly, if some of those individuals that were on TikTok crying about being laid off, some of those interns and those one first year junior devs, then if they would have listened to that earnings call, they would have known, oh yeah, no, Devices lost all this money last quarter. I might want to get over into this technology. Or maybe I'm going to get my stuff together, because that earnings call really, and after a couple of quarters, they will start cutting. And we didn't think that our teams would be affected, but you never know when that's going to happen, and you can never really predict, because the decisions are made with the advisor, with the boards, and the CEOs and the CFOs and the VPs and people that you will never ever probably meet. So listen to those earnings calls. Listen to them. Get even if you never trade a stock or do anything with it, just at least so that you understand where the company that you're working for and the trajectory that they're going for. So if you know that layoffs are going to happen, it's not a surprise, and you have time to get your game up and get your certs or get your go interview and things like that. Listen to the earnings calls. Also tap into all these companies. We have tons of communication outlets, and like I said, when people were laid off, there were LinkedIn posts. We have internal communications too that people can communicate, and we have a camaraderie with those people while they're in their 60 days, while they're on their severance. So there's still people getting absorbed back into the company in some way, shape, or form if they choose. So
yep. And that's the biggest misconception. People, okay, the part of the media stories that people tend to breeze over because we like the drama. And that's everybody. I ain't just talking about us. You know what I mean when I say us. Everybody does this. They literally say in these articles that these IT professionals were given the option to come back into the company in another capacity, y'all.
Or another team needs hey, I need a front end engineer, and we have just this channel or this quip document we have, or whatever, whoever's managing that, they're getting leads to get into jobs within the company or with other companies. So like I said, it's not like you're getting let go from, being a Walmart greeter. It's not like the guy from Burger King when he got, a Reese's after 27 years.
Ooh, I would have threw that thing in the fryer. I would have been so hot.
I would have been so mad. When I saw that, I was just like, I would have, this is it's really sad because if, that individual, he probably thought he was just, working a job and doing a good, doing what he was supposed to do. But you can't, these, it doesn't serve us as a population, outside of our community to have employment that does not allow us to to leverage our successes. And I mean, you need to be making 200 and 300K. And if you're not, I'm not saying like in our Grant Cardone kind of, that thing, but I'm just saying these when you hear these numbers, they're not, this isn't an exaggeration. This is what you can literally make. And when you're making that much money, you're able to, be an accredited investor. If you're making over 250K a year, you're able to play covered calls on your stock options because you got a 1-to-20 split and you got stock, and you can actually go and do that. You've got, there's a lot of leverage in there. And I just, hope that people don't think that this is just some, this isn't real, but it is a real thing. I do know people that make that amount of money. And in my role, we're corporate aligned. So we are a part of the corporate structure. That's why we have our comp in the way that we do, but we work in the facility. We just don't work for the facilities. We consult to them. So we get
this brilliant. That's brilliant.
We get a really interesting perspective because we're corporate. We're the I guess the corporate people, I guess, like in the office sense. But and then you have the operations, which are the warehouse folks, the managers, the people who want to be managers and everything. But we're so we are two different worlds. So we, like I said, our conversations are different. The way that we relate to each other is different. And the way that we see our future is different because we understand the company in terms of its financials. We understand the company in terms of where it's putting its resources. And, we know that AWS has been paying the bills. That's been on the, if we listen to the past 3 earnings calls, which I have, they have been paying the bills. And if you know that, maybe I might want to go and apply to AWS because they didn't have any layoffs. So
people think that when they think Amazon, they think, oh, I'm going to be a delivery person, a customer service rep, or I'm going to work in the warehouse. And it's like, we're here, and that's why we're gonna expand the channel also. And Fareedah, honestly, girl, I would love to have you back on.
I would love to come back on, and I could talk
Okay.
about this all day.
I know.
But
I'm like, we would have so much to cover. Oh my gosh. So
mhm.
um because I want people to be open-minded about this thing, and I want us to see it as this as the opportunity that it really is, you know?
And it's not just like I said, I have colleagues that went to Target, and then they have the same type of infrastructure. They have
Yeah.
the same type. I mean, any big box store, any hospital, anything. So when you're walking down the street and you are like, man, I want to get into tech. I wonder if this. I was going to say Radio Shack, but we haven't had any of those.
Girl, don't date us. Can you stop?
No,
Dang.
I didn't mean to bring that up, but like, or if, if you're going into your Chipotle,
Montgomery Ward.
did you know Chipotle has an internal tech team? Chipotle? I
Well,
mean,
this, and you know what's so funny, because they are saying that they're going to hire people in response to the tech layoffs. They're saying
yeah,
that they're going to hire all these people. And
yeah.
I made a joke about it in my community tab. I said, "Hey guys, do you?" Because okay. There's two marketing teams that are out here for Chipotle.
Mm-hmm.
One says that they're hiring a bunch of people because of burrito season, whatever the hell that is. And
I know
then,
that was a thing.
right, they put that out like a couple days after they put out the IT thing, but they said they want to hire IT professionals. If you are a person of any like intelligence, you understand what they're doing. They're trying to scoop up the talent. They're
Yes.
not going to have them do rolling burritos, y'all.
No.
And if they are, that's where they're going to start. They're going to be there to say, hey, how can we streamline this system better? How can we do this? How can we do that? It's brilliant what Chipotle is doing. If that is the case, they're really just trying to scoop up all of these tech professionals, groom them, refine Chipotle's systems and infrastructure, and then send them on their way.
Yeah.
That's all that's happening, y'all. So it's like we got to pay attention to what's really going on around us. Look beyond the headline. Maybe that's what we'll call our segment,
Right.
Fareedah. Beyond the headline. Shoot, girl.
And understand this too. You've got two perspectives. You've got the perspective, because I've like I said, I talk to a lot of people. You've got the junior devs, or the student interns, and this is their first job. So for them, they're crushed. This is crushed. Yeah, I would get on TikTok and act a fool. But you have your more seasoned, people who have been in the game, who've been in tech, and they know that most folks don't stay at a company more than 2 or 3 years. Most of the time, you're making your promotions and you're doing lateral moves. It's not that big a deal. And again, it's not like you're just out there waiting for Cobra. You are protected in a sense. You get severance. I've never worked at a job where I got severance if I left the company, where they would actually let me stay looking like I'm employed just so that I could get a loan so I can still close on a house and not have. That's how it is. You don't like
just said a word. Fareedah, you coming back, honey. Okay, listen, you got a fellow Amazonian in here. So Dark and Lovely SLG. And it said, I think that this person said something earlier about being an Amazonian. Yes, she works for Amazon.
Nice.
That's really cool. Okay.
It's a tech wonderland in the warehouse. It is a tech wonderland in the warehouse. It really is. It's insane. I work in a big facility on my day-to-day as one of the biggest AR sort sites. So this is where all of the technology, all of this cutting edge stuff is where I work, and I interface with it every day. I'm like, I meet other people, and I'm like, you don't know what I know. And I'm like,
Shout out to Dark and Lovely. Shout out to Dark and Lovely. Yeah, because that's really cool. Okay. I promised I was gonna go through the comments. I put them on the screen, but I gotta show my people some love. So let me go on and do it. Yes, and Dark and Lovely, you're welcome for the discussion for sure. Abakai, thank you, Extreme, for telling me that it's Abakai. That's the plural to he and I. He said abacuses, according to Google. So there you go. Yes, we do become Albert Einstein. Thank you, sir. Okay, and GPT.
Really, you know what? It's really open AI. That's ChatGPT.
That's the company, yeah.
That's the company, and what Microsoft is invested in terms of what they plan to do, and they're going to implement that in Bing into their browser. So they're going to be competing with Google. You
Yeah,
know,
because
Google.
I just took Bing off of my as my default. I just took it off because I said Bing is so stupid. And I think
Hmm.
that Microsoft pays attention because they know, well, I already told people they know what we do as far as how our cursor moves on the screen. They can detect, like, just based on like where we stop, they can kind of
Hmm.
they can ascertain what part of the screen you're actually looking at. So
Hmm.
they know what actually, strike
What you're clicking on,
yeah, they
what
know
you're
what strikes
interested
your fancy. Yeah, they know what strikes your fancy. So like I hear a
in.
lot of people, "Oh, I don't know why they keep sending me these naked girls on my thing." Yeah, you know why.
You know
You know
why?
why. You know why, cuz every time it pops up in the corner like blip, you be
Good.
looking at it. That's
That's
why.
right. That's
So it's
why.
so
It,
yeah, it's like I want people to understand like we're being studied. So it's in our best interest to get knowledgeable about these systems. You know what I
it
mean? And
is.
and I'm
Mhm.
glad you said that it's open AI because Chat GPT, people are
It's
using
just a
that.
data model. It's just one of many of
Yeah.
6 different data models, and they're coming out with the fourth version of that GPT that's supposed to be a bigger data set. But I will say this about Chat GTP because we, like I said, we talk. It's it's good, and these models will get better, and these
Mhm.
companies will develop their own models, and
Yeah.
it'll be the next big. You know, right? We were talking about the metaverse. Well, we're not really talking about the metaverse anymore. At least in our circles, we're not talking about the metaverse. We're
Right,
talking
it
about
came and went
how
so fast.
it really did. And it, if there is a metaverse, and there will be, but it will be one that AI and machine learning will create.
And
That's what it will
everybody's
be.
gonna I don't think Mark I think Mark did that prematurely, and I think he did it to kind of show that he was still in the game, just to
That's
kind of,
they have
that's what
they
it
have
seemed
to.
like.
And,
Yeah.
you know, they own 51% of the company. They gotta at least show some sort of. It's I guess it's that CEO kind of sociopathic kind of personality disorder thing. I don't know, but
Yeah,
there
because
is something.
he didn't even seem like he really cared about it. And
It's just
have you heard
it's
his
just a
earnings
risk.
calls?
Yeah, they're not good, and
And he
they
sounds
lost
like a
some.
robot. He's not
Mhm.
I don't even think he's on the call. He's just a
I've
recording.
I've seen him in some of the congressional hearings when and that man is Adderalled up and ready to go, but he's not going to be shook. But at the same time, I think he's just a they're swimming in rounds and rounds of funding, and they're going to be okay, and to an extent, because this is kind of that's how the growth companies roll, and they're not really all that
Mhm.
profitable. A lot of times they thought we thought that these social media companies were going to be the next protocol, like, oh, you won't need your email no more, you'll just be using you know Facebook and social media, and that's not the case, because these companies aren't necessarily they're making money off AdSense, and that's not the most you know, that's that's not really the most that can run out at some point. If something with the platform changes, or people, the
Yeah.
metaverse does pick up, it it's a wormhole. But
Yeah, I wouldn't
yeah,
but you know what? That's something that I would love to talk about further because I know you're in some courses too
hmm,
of Erica's, and she talks about that
yeah,
kind of stuff a lot, and it's like that kind of game is like yeah, y'all don't be understanding like
mm-mm,
how this whole thing really works, and it's like I only understand probably 60% of it,
yeah.
but it's like AdSense is like nothing, you
It's
guys, like
really it's not a real business. Apple is a real
no.
business. Apple, if you look at their financials and you look at how well, and they buy back their stock, they're a very well run company. There's a difference between what they were able to do, and they didn't have to lay anybody off. Now these other companies, just so that they can make the bottom, just so that they can get a little bit, of institutional support, they had to
Mhm.
lay off all those people. And they it's interesting, how could you overhire in a labor shortage, but that's another conversation.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the I hate
Negative.
that there are all these rumors going around about tech. Like, okay, they're making it seem like okay, let's just say 20,000 just for lack of,
Mhm.
just because your average person has
Yeah.
no has no concept of how numbers really work. 20,000 people getting laid off. No, it's nothing to sneeze at.
It's
However, there are 585,000 yeah, 585,000 actual tech companies that exist in the United States alone.
Yes.
So that 20,000 is nothing. Okay?
No, it's
Because
nothing.
and that's in one company. I
Mm-hmm.
said there are 585,000. 500,
Yes.
yeah, but girl, the number in my head sounds weird. I don't know why. 585,000 tech companies at the end of 2021 in the United States of America. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of people just giving me buzzwords and headlines, and I'm like, you don't even know what's going on. Stop it.
No, and really, unless you're in the space, unless you really are working in the space, and you're actually
Mhm.
able to have these conversations, unless you're able to actually have these conversations, it's a lot of it is just what you hear and see on in the media, or whatever meme you saw on your social media feed or whatever. But like when I'm actually talking to my boss and we're talking about, future technology, he's, letting me know, these are the things that you should be doing. Maybe you should be looking
Mhm.
at, um, maybe not Azure, maybe look at Red Hat, maybe look at these other technologies. And on top of
Mhm.
that, a lot of our a lot of our leadership, they're experienced themselves. We have, pen testers, and my boss, he's a pen tester, and he actually does that kind of stuff, and he gives us game on.
Mhm.
That's why we get so we're just so not jaded, but we've seen behind the smoke and mirrors behind a lot of these a lot of this hype and things like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're going to get two perspectives. You're going to get the perspective of the Gen Z, just first job. Capitalism is horrible. Oh no, the man's wrong, and this is all. And then you're going to get the perspective of, hey, look, I've been in the game for about 20 years, been doing this, and this just rolls with the punches. I'm just going to take my severance, going to take a break, go back in, maybe get a government contract. Some of these people are working 2 or 3 jobs. So, I mean, yeah, and if you got let go, I mean, and you had 2 jobs, because that was a thing. Well, it still is a thing. So
Overemployment.
overemployment. So I'm not saying that, that some people aren't going to feel pain, but that pain, it could happen to anybody. It can happen to any job at
Right.
any company. They're just going to make those decisions, and you don't have any say, or you just need to be prepared and listening to earnings
Yeah.
calls, um, keeping your skill sets up, keeping your resumes, which is something that I need to do, and I need to reach out to Mentor
Mentor
Shelley.
Shelley.
um, Keeping your resumes and getting your certifications. This is the time that, if you're still, if anybody's still, in employed, in a tech position or anything like that, and like myself, I'm just, we just survived, our impact, our layoff impact. We're getting our certs. We're not even playing around. I've already got my vouchers ready. I just got to
Mhm.
schedule my test, but we're already, focused on getting our certifications and doing the next best thing. And the next thing right now is making that next lateral move, because as these companies restructure, they're moving their resources into other technologies. So if I listened to that call and knew that they were going to be investing X amount of money and X amount of in this particular technology, I might want to get my resume over onto that team. And those are the things that are going to get you far. Those are the things that are going to keep you ahead of the game. So you're just not stuck, getting that. They'll send you a text. They don't care. They'll send you a text. Don't come into work. Your badge is disconnected. We're gonna do a little chime call, and we'll just, and then we'll talk about your severance. And we're not when we're and I saw HubSpot. That's the one. They're the ones that had the 5 month severance. And on top of that, this was one thing that was the kicker. Out of all the benefits that they gave you, the
Mhm.
last benefit that they had was you get to go, you have a one-on-one with a member of management, so you can cuss them out if you want to. If you were pissed off that you
Woo.
got laid off, this is where you can do it. They will give you the luxury of, you can cuss us out on your way out if you want to.
I love that. And so many of
Mm-hmm.
us be like, I'm going to cuss her out. I wish she would. She'd be like,
With
okay, well, come on, bring it,
come on, bring it,
And that's what I'm saying. Like, so why are we acting like we can't be in these spaces, y'all? It's
Mm-hmm.
almost like they were made for us. But
Exactly.
I forget where I was looking because I just had it up and like a doofus, I totally clicked off of it. But the certifications,
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that you touched on that because I wanted to kind of show everybody how affordable these courses actually are. So this
Yeah.
is the CompTIA website. Oh, y'all, I wish hold on, by exam. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's where it was. Okay.
There
Yeah,
you
here
go.
we go.
Mm-hmm.
So this is CompTIA IT fundamentals. So if you just want to, get started, I just clicked on any random thing, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the highest priced item here is $411. And what were we talking about during our other phone call? CompTIA, if you put that on your LinkedIn, I mean, you're going to get calls from recruiters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why are we acting as if as if
I
like
mean,
this stuff isn't here for us though?
what else are you going to spend $400 on?
And it's
You
tax time, y'all. Get it going. Come
get it
on.
going. And if you're already working in whatever capacity that you're in, and if or even if you are in one of those, like I said, when
Look
I
at
was
that.
working at Amazon, just as in the packing department, I could still take advantage of
That's
programs like
beautiful.
these, and you wouldn't have to pay for it. Another thing too, if you buy the voucher, some of these course materials you can just find on YouTube. Professor Messer has a whole series of um, of of uh, of CompTIA certification prep courses that are free. And him and Professor Messer and I think his name is Mike Myers, he has a $10 Udemy course. So you could just buy the voucher
Mhm.
and not buy the learning bundle because I didn't. But it's there and it's a good option because we pay these colleges grips, but that could be a game
Yeah.
changer. You get a network plus, you could get into an entry level networking junior engineer degree, and I mean not a degree but a role, and that's what, almost 80K, just probably starting out off the street, and you have that certification, and as long as you maintain it and maybe get uh, you can do a bachelor's in IT if you want to, or a master's and MBA with a emphasis in IT management. That's what all of our leadership does. They just go and get them the master's with an IT emphasis, and you can be an IT, what we call them ITMs, but you can be in a leadership role for IT. You can go all the way up to a CIO, which is that's a C level, like a CTO, CIO kind of level.
Mhm. Mhm.
So with certifications and education, and these companies will pay for it. They want you to do it because it's cheaper for them to train you to stay with them, or maybe rebound within the tech space, than it is for them to go and sponsor people from overseas, or risk talent from people who might not have qualifications. I mean, they really just want to fast track as much as possible within, because it's um it's less cost intensive,
Yeah,
because
totally.
when you hire external employees, you have to pay them more. So, and it might not work out because they might not be a cultural fit for your organization, so it's a risk. So these companies they really want to educate from within, because it really does save them money if they can maintain the talent, and on top of that, all these companies are competing for the talent as well. So if you got a bunch of skills, you can go anywhere, do anything, get a government contract if you do want to do the 1099 thing.
Mhm.
It's just really whatever you want to do, and whatever technology you feel like appeals to you, or if sales appeals to you, or if anything in the creative space appeals to you, or content creation. If you want to take that skill set after you've worked and then that's what I want to do. Start a channel and teach people, and create your own courses. I mean, like I said, it's not just about getting a job. It's about really having a career that can really elevate you to ways of living, and just this is all just I guess in our community, we're so economically we're at the bottom, and politically we get pushed to the bottom, but all of these things are economics, and
Hold on,
if
let me touch
we
on this real quick. Guys, I'm showing let me tell them what I'm showing on the screen, and I'm gonna pop back up to us. Okay, guys, so the on the page right now, I just went to the TIA, but here is Harvard courses that are free for you to get certifications, okay? Programming with Python. There's an IBM course here, Six Sigma.
Six Sigma, I know some people who got the Six Sigma that I work
Yeah,
with.
so
Hmm.
so I put all that in the chat, you guys. So like I said, I'm gonna let you keep going, Fareedah. I just wanted to touch
Hmm.
on this because people, oh, I can't afford it, and oh, it's not available to me, and blah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Stop lying, y'all. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to Fareedah. Like, don't stop it.
Just,
Okay.
I mean, listen, if some people just want to get off work, they want to, they drove a forklift, all day. They just want to go home, drink a Colt 45. People are still drinking Colt 45. They want to they just want to chill.
So
Cisco or whatever. They just want to chill. They just want to, but oh man, if I got to go and study after, you mean I got to study? And I got to read this stuff, and I don't think I can do, and you get that. And it's like, well, then the metaverse will be there for you, and then that I don't know what else, because we don't know. You don't know what the next 5 years are going to look like. You don't know if the jobs that you have now are going to be there. And
they're
so
not.
and if you don't have any skills, Diamond Dave, when he did that piece on how in Canada they'll let you delete yourself,
Yeah,
because it's
yeah.
cheaper. And the thing is, they do that here because Oregon and Washington have those same euthanasia laws. So,
That's right.
you know,
I
so
forgot about Washington.
mhm,
I
mhm.
forgot about that.
You
Wow.
know, so it's really serious out there. That should be sobering for anybody right now to realize if this is where economics is taking us to that extent,
Mhm.
you have no you really don't have a choice in the matter. And if you don't, I don't know if there's any. I hate to be bleak like that too, because I don't want to tell people like, we're going to be, and there's no hope for you. But as time progresses and you see homeless people, homeless men, Erica talks about it on her channel, like all these people are just like single and living in a van or in a car. That's another thing too. Like all these I'm like, I get it from
Okay, listen. I was just watching a black chick, young girl. And I ain't gonna
mhm,
put her video up here because I was actually gonna do a whole video on it, but I'm not. I'm a spare her, especially because she got a big old
mhm,
audience. They're gonna come for me. But it's a
mhm.
black girl with like 130 something
I think I know who
thousand
you're talking about. I watch her too.
with her son.
Oh
And I'm like,
gosh.
okay, everybody in the chat is like, oh, that's so cute. I'm so
No,
glad
it's
that you're a
not.
van lifer with her son and he loves you so much. I said, yeah, because he thinks this is playtime right now.
Playtime. He thinks we're going camping.
Yes. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking, I wanted to go into one of her comments so bad and say, yeah, this is fun and your bond is
Mm-hmm.
strong until he's 15,
Teen.
stanking, got hormones going like crazy. Okay,
Oh,
has to get ready in a Walmart bathroom to go to prom if he can
yeah.
even go,
There's only
and
so many
let
truck
his first girlfriend find out he live in a damn
in a
van with his
van.
mama.
Come on
Let's really
now.
talk about this.
Come on
And then
now.
on her end, I'm like, okay, you're a young woman out there. I don't know if you have weapons. I don't know what you have, but that to me, saying this as a person with no kids, even though people
Mm-hmm.
act like we can't give input,
Right,
but
right.
we can because we can actually look at you objectively and see how
Mm-hmm.
foolish some of y'all act. It's like, look, that is child endangerment. That child doesn't
Yes.
even have that child doesn't have an address.
Address.
That
A van
child
is
has no
not an address.
stability.
Mm-hmm.
And where the hell is his father? So I have not even looked deep enough into the story to
Mm-hmm.
know, because maybe he passed on or something. But where is her network? The van life
That's
people are not her network. She needs to stop
Yeah.
that.
And the thing is, it really needs to. I mean, I'm not here to say that people, but when I see people getting these minivans and cars, and no, that's poverty. And And you
She's
monetize,
homeless.
and you're monetizing poverty. Like that,
Yes.
how do you monetize poverty? Like that's not even cute, because at this point you're killing, people are like, oh, well, I don't have to, I don't gotta get no job. I could just live in a van. And then,
Right.
there's only so many truck stop showers you can take before you get foot rot, or, or you're eating
And
out of,
just lady problems. Think about what goes
yeah,
on. And I'm not going to say it because I don't want to be vulgar, but I do have on a red shirt. So do the math, y'all. When Shark Week hits,
yep,
what are we really going to say it's cute to be in a van with our
in a
son?
van with your son, and you're in a wet bath, or I mean, or if you got a build like that, if you are living in an econo line, that's a paper cup. I don't even want to. I mean, that is an endangerment, sisters. That's a bad situation,
Yeah.
and
So I'm
yeah,
hoping she's only doing it for views, and I'm hoping
um,
she's one of those. See, we lost him, girl. When you talk too much mess, the numbers drop.
they don't want to
Here-
hear it.
But here's the thing: the public will cheer you on in your
Yeah,
stupidity. They will cheer you on
hmm,
right off the cliff,
yeah,
and they don't care about you. That's the
they
whole
don't
thing.
care.
Like I said, all these people, and I'm gonna watch a couple more of her videos. But girl, I was ready to throw the phone because I was like, oh, she's tripping. But and it's like, God forbid the father does come back and say, look, you're endangering my child. Now I care
Hmm.
all of a sudden.
Now I care.
He's got all of this what do you call it? Evidence
Evidence. You
of
got
you.
You got a child out there in the streets, living in a car, in a van, in a vehicle, in the middle of nowhere, or in who knows where you're sleeping. And that's another thing. You're sleeping
She
in
tells
in
people
in.
where she's sleeping. That's
Mm,
safety issues. She films her car on the channel. I'm like, girl, what are you? This is a woman that needs guidance
hmm. And
and
if
an
this
IT
is,
certificate.
but they figure this, like they'd rather, that's what's crazy to me. Like I don't want to live in a vehicle. Like I would love to have a beautiful Sprinter van and go camping and glamping,
Oh
every
Lord.
other weekend, or do something like that, because that's cool. But I'm not living in that damn thing full time. What kind of craziness is that? And then
I'm
people
so
are
done
like,
with the world. My Lord, I'm
well,
done.
and it's like, we're glamorizing this thing, but like you said, you mean the things that we do on a daily basis, hygiene wise and food wise, you're not making good, food choices. You're not able to cook. You're eating freeze dried food or gas station food. Yeah, it's not a healthy
Mhm.
lifestyle.
It's not.
And I don't care how people, how people talk about, this is my choice and I'm choosing to be free. No, you're not choosing to be free. You're choosing to monetize poverty. And when you get kicked out of all these Walmart parking lots and Cabela parking lots, and not cops knocking on you, I mean, that's dangerous. That's really
Yeah,
dangerous.
it's traumatizing, and I think, like I said, it, yes, I'm judging her lifestyle. You guys can call it
Hmm.
what you want. Like
Yeah.
I'm over not calling a spade and
Hmm.
trying to spare feelings. Okay, look,
Yeah.
she's also just a symptom of what is happening, because even when I lived in Hollywood, I live pretty close to the Walk of Fame, and it's like when you walk out there, there's these young kids, and you ask them, "Hey, where'd
Hmm.
you come from, by the way?" "Oh, well, yeah, I just came from Portland, and I heard California is the best place to
Yeah.
be homeless, so I'm here." And you're
The best
like,
place to be homeless. You hear that sounds?
"Where is your family? Where is your family, and
Well,
what's your bounce back?
because
Like, what
I
are
don't
you
want
gonna
to.
do?"
Well, they want to get on drugs. And they don't want to be with their family. There's I've seen that. I've seen people make them choices, and it's like they'd rather be out on the streets doing whatever they want to do than be with their family, or do something productive. And it's just this checking out in life, failure to launch
That's what it
at the
is.
extreme. You
And
know.
arrested development, it's all of those things
Mhm.
boiled into one, and that's why I wanted to have you on tonight, because it's like the pivot is so real. And I mean, in my mom's day, let's talk about it. I'll be quick. Like, my mom started off in aerospace. Okay,
Mhm.
she hit the jackpot. She got in at
Mhm.
18. Okay, and it really was
Mhm.
just because she was cute, because she got in, and she tells me the story all the time. She got in when they were still tapping girls on the butt when they walked by.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, and that was happening in the 80s, you guys.
That
This is
was that's like Mad
yeah,
Men.
yeah, and Diamond Dave was doing a live the other day talking about the Bruce's Beach, and
I
a lot of
saw that.
people don't know that part of California specifically. It's called the South Bay. A lot of people think the South Bay is up north. I'm like, no, y'all, we are the
Interesting.
South Bay down there also, okay,
Mm-hmm.
where I lived. But
Mm-hmm.
so like near LAX, like between LAX and we'll say Palos Verdes for those people that know California.
Mm-hmm.
But so there's this stretch of beach that takes place, because a lot of people only think Venice Beach, Santa Monica, Malibu. Those places are great, but the true beach cities are down in the South Bay of California, Los Angeles
Right.
County. So in these places, that's aerospace, right?
Mm-hmm.
Defense, they have their government contracts, right? So these are your Raytheons, your
Raytheons, Lockheed Martins.
yeah, Lockheed Martin. I went to space camp through TRW. They're Northrop Grumman now, and my
Northrop.
brother has been with Northrop Grumman for God 20 something years now. He
Well,
got in. He got in at 17.
Wow.
So
Is L3 out there too?
say what now?
L3.
L3. I'm not. Is that another company?
That's another like government contracting company.
I wouldn't
We
be
have them out
surprised if
here.
it was. If it was. So
Yeah. Yeah.
L3 L3 Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, they might be. But what I was gonna say is that it says that they're, it looks like in San Diego, Menlo Park, Gardena. Gardena is a big spot for tech as well, that a lot of people don't know, because Gardena is seen as the hood in California, but it's not.
Interesting.
There's a lot going on. There's two sides to Gardena that people don't know. I want to get somebody from the South Bay to come on here, because nobody that I know is from Hawthorne. I'm from Hawthorne, just so y'all know.
Really? Oh,
like
wow.
nobody, and that's where SpaceX is. But like I said, before SpaceX, but before them, it was, like I said, well, Hughes, I don't think is around anymore, but it was, all the ones that we just named, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I wanted to touch on is just that every generation has their pivot. So for my mom, what happened was she was in aerospace from the late 70s, I believe, to the early 80s. And then she went all the way into the 90s. So she worked for like McDonnell Douglas, all of those companies, right? And it reminds me of tech, because when you were in aerospace back in those days, you could go from company to company. You could company hop, and you would just stay in El Segundo, Manhattan Beach, Redondo Beach. Like those are all the that's the hub, right? So she was just able to go from place to place. But then after I forget what war it was in the 90s, with Bush Sr., I think it was.
Is the Afghanistan, I think,
oh my
or
God,
the Desert Storm or Desert.
Thank you. Yes. And they had all those massive layoffs, right? So she was a part of that. And that changed her entire trajectory of her career, because it was like, oh, now we can't work in aerospace anymore. And she didn't have the degrees or anything. All she had was literally like, people just liked her, and it was like, okay. And but I have a lot of family that's in those companies. But anyway, she pivoted, went into telecommunications. I mean, she did a lot of stuff. I'm not even gonna put my mom on blast, but like she had her little Hollywood life too. She used to read meters, like she used to be a gas meter reader. And I think she met like Hulk Hogan, Madonna. Like she used to do it in the Hollywood Hills. So, yeah. And then she did that. Then she got into telecommunications, and then listen, y'all, she did the ultimate hustle. She married an ex-military guy, and now she sits and hangs out. And
that's the game.
And all her bills are paid now. So I'm like,
okay. And they got military retirement, I bet too.
Girl, she all the time. I'm a military spouse. I'm like, Mom, I know. Okay, we know. But I'm just saying, everybody's pivot is so different. So back then it was the aerospace for them. Then when that kind of dried up, she jumped into telecommunications, and look what that is now. Her path was a little bit different how it ended up, but I think for us right now, tech is that new frontier.
That new frontier.
Yeah, and it's that path for us to jump out of these old school ways of doing things.
Right.
And I'm an old millennial, so and I think you're what, Gen X?
Gen X. I'm a Gen X. I'm an old head Gen X.
So you're old Gen X?
Well, 78.
So you would be young Gen X, or
young.
I don't know.
I guess we're that in 78. We were like that little sliver of Generation X that was kind of a millennial, but we were a little left behind. So we were part of that lagging birth rate, that because in the 80s, I guess so few people had babies in that time or something like that. So I'm in that.
And that's happening now too. So, but what I'm saying, I think that the tech is this is our moment right now for those of us that,
and it's something that we can get in relatively easy like I said, a lot of times, it's just getting that first gig, but there's hacks around that. Like I
Yeah.
said, number one, be prepared for the interview. When you want to find a company, go research the company. Don't just
Mhm.
go on their website and, okay, well, they got pretty colors. No, like, look at who the leadership is. Look at what their mission statement, or if they, like I said, Amazon has leadership principles. So look at those things, and then look at the jobs. Look at you go on Indeed, look at a certificate, maybe look at the Network Plus, type it in and see what jobs come up under Network Plus, and then start reverse engineering it back that way, because that's how a lot
That's
of
right.
those that's how the dominant society gets in, and we can follow suit. We can do that too. We're smart people, we are innovators, we have potential to be engineers, and it's in our genes, it's in our ancestors. We
Girl,
we
don't
needed
get me
we
started. Don't get me
like I said,
started.
when I a lot of people, they're like, oh my God, aren't you so intimidated being around all those mans and all that? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't get intimidated. I just try to make sure I know more than what the fuck they know.
And they're
Sorry.
just men. They're just like they're I'm sorry, y'all, but like men are not that intimidating. Like I know they be
They're
thinking they
not.
are, but it's like, no, y'all are just us with a dingaling, or we're just
Right.
you
And
without one. I don't know
you
however you
think
want to say it.
And you think that people are smarter than you. People are not. I'm telling you, you don't have to second guess your intelligence, because really, at the end of the day, nobody is really smarter than anybody. It's your ability to be a problem solver, your ability to read. I'm serious. I'm
Mhm.
serious about that. A lot of
Yeah.
people really struggle with that. The ability to be resourceful and to really engage with your work, not just sit around. I'm just going to sit here and just, you know, just drown the day out, and I'm just gonna stay at this position, just keep doing this, and it'll just work out. No, it won't, because they're gonna get rid of they're gonna get rid of you, and you're gonna have a target on your back, because you're costing them money. You're a liability, sitting there in a yellow tote taking TikTok videos and stuff like that, which is against the policies. I don't know, like I said, it's being dealt with, but you know I will say this, and this is my experience.
Mhm.
It's different when you come from the tier one, those roles and the conversations and the like I said, it's just this is an ends to a mean. I'm just my job. I come in there and I'm like, okay, I see all of this technology. Who, and how, and what? How do I get into it? What do I got to do? And just by chance, I just happened to meet some people that told me, oh, this is how you do it. They didn't give me anything. I had to do all the work, but I did it and it worked out. And that's what it is. But for some people, that's like, I don't want to do all that. Okay, then go to Washington and, join the euthanasia camp. I don't know. And I mean that. And I'm
That was
sick of,
so real. That
I
was
get
so real.
I get so sick of trying to talk to people, or not even talk to people. You get into these contrarian arguments, and you get to a point where you don't even have conversations with certain people. I just stopped going to lunchroom, because it just becomes like, I try to have a conversation about, rentals, and, people are like, why would I want to do that? Okay, well, and evidently I'm this is not where the conversations are. So there's a it's a mindset. And
Right.
like I said, these jobs, they will put the resources out there. Hey, get this program, get this certificate. And people will be like walking by, and I just want to get my check at the end of the week, or at the end of the day, because now they let you do that. Now they let you, get to get paid out on the day, because we couldn't wait 2 weeks. When that happened, I was like, really? People can't wait 2 weeks?
They
No,
can't
they
afford to.
can't wait the week.
No.
We have a way that you can get an advance. Now imagine that. How are you getting it in advance? So you have to come, and these aren't full-time employees either. On top of that's another thing
No.
too.
It,
You
it's and
know.
it's a poverty mindset, like you talked about,
Mhm.
because when I look at the oh girl, yeah, you got to come back, because like okay, when I go through the HUD paperwork, I will tell you that I do see a lot of advanced paychecks,
Mhm.
but then I also see transactions for OnlyFans on their bank statements,
Yes.
and Popeye's chicken and stuff like
Popeye's
that, and it's
chicken.
like I can't judge how a person lives in that respect, because I understand like some people it it is their surroundings also.
Mhm.
I say that, but in the same breath, I'm judging the van life girl, which I'm gonna continue to do.
We're
But
gonna.
but I think that it is a mind state, and I'm gonna have to touch on that on another day, just because I don't want to say too much
Right. But
in this
if
arena.
if
But
our survival as a collective is pending, and that's where we need to look at it. Our survival,
you
our
need to
literal
dive.
survival.
That's who you need to be talking to.
I mean, it's because it's the truth. We get also now. People will get on these lives for 9. I work a shift for 12 hours. I couldn't imagine being on a live for 9, and they're talking about nothing. And I'm like, in this time,
Yeah.
you've built nothing. You've wasted more money than you've even you haven't earned anything. I don't know what you're monetizing. I don't know who sits on this live for 9 hours talking about nothing about you know but you're not enriching yourself, you're not educating, you're not getting educated, and that's wasted time. And then
They're
the
waiting
time.
for the handout. I'm gonna be real with they're waiting for the handout, and the handout is actually already here. Like what we
It's
did right now, and I'm gonna drill this home because this live should have gotten like hundreds of fucking views. And I'm gonna cuss
right
now because we're toward the end, so I'm gonna cuss
to the
now.
end. At this point, we just
But
might keep it real.
we should have gotten hundreds of views tonight because people
Mm-hmm.
act like nobody's accessible. Nobody will tell me what's going on and how to get in. I literally put all this stuff up here for free. Fareedah came on here after her shift
Mm-hmm.
in her work vest, okay? Reflecting work vest, okay? Y'all,
Mm-hmm.
she came on here to talk to y'all and give you game. Like, this is what I'm talking about. It's like, but if we were on here talking about, if I had a whole conversation with you about how hitting the wall and you and I are going to die alone and we're going
We're
to be
gonna dial.
poor and
We're gonna move
destitute,
forward.
girl, we would
Mm.
have got so many views
Oh
tonight. We
yeah,
would have
we
got,
would have
oh my
some
God,
kind of celebrity that did something. I don't even know.
girl.
We would have been cash apped and all sorts
Girl,
of
super
monetization.
chats would have been on fleek tonight. Do they
Hmm.
still say on fleek? But
I guess.
they would have been on point tonight. They would have been like, here's $49, here's
Mm-mm.
50, here's 10, here's some change for your
Change for
trouble.
your trouble.
Right? They would
Giving
have
us
done
money
that.
that they don't even have.
I swear they would have done that. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying because it's been a steady like 10 or 11 of y'all that have stayed on. And I don't know, some of y'all probably defectors. I already know because I know some no girl, because I know I got people lurking that be secretly not happy that I'm on here, but that's okay. So I need the like though. Can y'all drop a like?
Right.
And if you're here, babies, drop a like, drop a like. See the girl, the defectors done got found out. That's why they dropped off. But
You
look,
know.
if we were on here talking crap, we would have
Mm-hmm.
got so many
Being
views.
ratchet.
Yes, but here
Mm-hmm.
it is. We're two women on a Friday night that
Right.
honestly, I've been so stoked about this all week because I
Mm-hmm.
know those that rock with me for real, they know what's up and like they're
Mm-hmm.
here for the growth of this channel for one,
Right.
for the
Mm-hmm.
growth of the people for one,
Right.
for the growth of women, especially
Right.
women in tech, okay?
In tech.
Because like I
Mm-hmm.
said, this is a space for us, Fareedah, and you have given me so much inspiration. I'm not even kidding. I'm gonna go get a certification. And even
Yeah.
Erica said she got certs. People don't be listening when she talks, but she said
Mm-hmm.
she's getting
Get
certifications
the
too.
certification. Even if I would just get one
Girl,
just to get one. I mean, why?
thank
What could it
you.
hurt? Even
That's
if
what
you
I'm about to
just,
do.
you know what? Let me tell you something. Because I was working on a project at one of our other sites today, and we
Mhm.
were interfacing with one of the project managers that we're implementing an AI tool. Anyway, during our conversation with this project manager, he's a couple levels above me. He's telling me, all of this stuff about what's going on in these, and and as far as and because he's in the higher level, he's the project manager, so they talk about the product, they talk about our org and stuff like that. So he's telling me stuff about um what types of you know things they're going to maybe try to do with some of the sites because of the lowered productivity expectations, and how people are like, they knew what was going to happen in 2020. They knew what would happen now in 2020 because they have analysts, they have a lot of resources. These are things that you can see from the inverted yield curve. They knew this was going to happen. Like I said, if you were on those, if people are listening to those calls and reading about and going in and looking at the financials of the companies that you work for, you would have known in 2020, okay, in 2021, I'm gonna be out. I'm gonna do this.
Hey, y'all, I'm
Um,
drinking water. Ain't nothing nasty
mhm.
or crazy up in this cup.
Oh
Just
no,
keep
I
going,
drink
girl.
water too. But yeah, like we get to talk about, like I said, I'm very fortunate because we get to have a different level of conversation, and you know, it's just going to get harder from now on. In terms of even my job, even what I'm doing, there's going to be things that are going to be automated, and IT won't go away. But you're going to have to learn different sets of skills. You're going to have now. They want us to I code now. That's a part of my job. I build applications for my organization. We're building one right now.
That sounds
So
so baller. That
it
sounds
is.
so baller.
I mean,
What do
and
you think
skill.
about this comment here?
Oh yes, Tam from Women in Linux. Yes, I'm actually I love their channel. I follow their channel, and I am a contributor to Women in Linux as a nonprofit. I yeah, they're an inspiration. If everybody could follow Tam at Women in Linux, yeah, a lot of the game I got from them, from her and Dee, uh,
Love it.
great people. And yes, um,
So
yeah, Red
should we
Hat
skip the
Linux
help desk?
admin. Like I said, help desk isn't always, if it can get you a foot in the door, then take help desk. But like I
Mhm.
said, there's more than just, call center help desk roles. Because I think help desk itself is a kind of an umbrella term as well too. There's different, what I do is considered help desk in a sense, because
Mhm.
I'm just out in the field. I support infrastructure, I support hardware, I support software. I support a lot of different things. Like I said, we literally are the site reliability.
You're the Wizard
For
of Oz. You're
mhm,
literally the wizard.
mhm,
It's so crazy because like we are historically Black people are the builders of the country, and I know a lot of people get in their feelings when people say that, but they are, and it's we're the help essentially.
yes,
I think in this generation we need to reframe what being the help is
yes,
and take command of it because there's other
mhm,
groups in this country that are considered
yes,
the help and
yes.
they build empires based on that.
Tell you
Let's
about it.
let's 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 talk about construction and janitorial. We already
Construction,
know who's
janitorial.
we know who's running that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about some people that turned how do I say this? A very bad thing that happened during the Second World War.
Uh,
We'll say those people turned a tragedy
yeah.
into like a completely like they did a 180 and
180.
they were like, yeah, this happened, but watch
Mm-hmm.
us now.
Watch us
Right?
now, and you better not say nothing about us,
There
because
you
we'll take
go.
everything that you have.
How
We'll take
dare you make a
everything you.
movie about how many movies have you seen about that incident?
I
Schindler's List, that's all you saw.
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
let's be real, but how many slave movies do you see? How
Oh,
many for real? Let's
mm-hmm.
really talk because
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to let y'all know what the mind game that's being played on y'all right now. And
Right.
it's 9 o'clock on the East Coast, so I could talk now.
Let's talk it. Let's talk.
And I promised myself I wasn't gonna be doing
Mhm.
these long ass live streams, but like I
Well,
said,
it's
I
of
enjoy having you
substance.
on.
We're of
So
substance. We're not up here, talking about
because it's
other.
so deep, it's so much
Mhm.
deeper.
It really is.
Then I just need to. I'm so scared to go into tech because of the numbers, y'all. If you don't get your ass in that seat and type away on that damn 10 key. So what I'm saying is, how much longer are we gonna allow our trauma story to play out for the whole world to see before we just be like, you know what? I hear you, Hollywood, but how about we gonna go ahead and revolutionize this industry now?
Yeah.
We don't all need to be doctors. We don't all need to be lawyers. I'm sorry, we
Mm-mm.
don't. We don't all need to be in
Mm-mm.
HR. We don't all
No.
need to, and no shade to anybody that's in HR. Let me stop. But Black women
Well,
are known for being in HR in big
for
organizations.
for these
That is
clerical
where they throw
roles,
us.
any clerical role, any administrative role, but those
Yes.
those things are being automated. You,
Yes.
a
Bro,
bulk of the people that are going to be
UGK.
laid off were in
Or
recruiting and
UKG.
HR.
UGK is the rapper.
Oh,
UKG, y'all. Or
I don't even know
yeah,
who these
UKG.
people are.
Okay, so that but
It,
what I'm saying is that I think right now it's time for us to rewrite
Mm-hmm.
what they're going to say about us.
Yeah.
I understand we are out here not getting unalived. I understand that.
Yeah.
Some of that is because we not focused in the right places.
Mm-mm.
I think that we need to be in the house on these computers instead of doing some of the stuff that we be out there doing.
What they're out there doing, and it's the truth. And if you talk about it, people cuss you out and talk. Say, "How dare you judge me? How dare you? How
And
dare
it's
you tell
not going
me
to be
that?"
easy. That's the part
Okay.
everybody forgets. It's the part where we actually start the upward trajectory. That
Mm-hmm.
is not going to be easy.
Mm-mm.
That's the part everybody's forgetting. It's like, yes, you are probably going to have to. Well, let me go into this is the solutionist experience. I'm not speaking as the credit solutionist right now. You're going to have to probably marry the person you have kids
Yeah.
with. You're going to have to probably get a
Yeah.
house with them. You're
Yeah.
probably going to have to buy an investment property. You are
Mm-hmm.
probably going to have to get some doctors and lawyers that specifically want to work in Black
Yeah.
communities because
Please.
we're lacking those. Y'all get the degrees and shit and then you leave.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's literally going to take a string of people that are on the
Mm-hmm.
same consciousness wave.
Right.
We're all going to have to find each other and we're
Mm-hmm.
all going to have to bring what we can to the table and
Mm-hmm.
build the community, right?
Exactly.
That's part of what's going to have to happen. And like I said, I'm just now getting into starting to understand some of that. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, it takes money, it
Mm-hmm.
takes resources, it takes applied education, just having a willy-nilly degree and using it at somebody else's organization.
Mm-hmm.
It literally takes getting the skill, bringing it back, building from
Right.
there. It's not going to be
Building.
easy. Like I said, the groups that I just talked about, they had their moment where everything was hard, right? The how do I say this? The ones from the South Americans, because they are
Mm-hmm.
Americans. That's everybody
Mm-hmm.
wants to act like they're not Americans. They're
Yeah.
just Southern Americans.
Mm-hmm.
People from South America come here and they don't care what you think about them.
Mm-mm.
They're
They
about that
don't.
hustle. They're
They're just
yeah,
about the
they don't
money.
care.
They're
They
like,
gonna
yeah.
wear their little, they're let me stop, let me be quiet. But
Well,
they don't be caring and they build families. Yes,
and
there are
they
single
build.
parents there,
Mm-hmm.
but
But they
I'm sorry,
know
go ahead,
that.
Frida.
No, I was just saying they know what is at stake, and their survival is at stake. And when your survival is at stake, all those other distractions, they go to the side, because at the end of the day, all our problems aren't political. Our problems aren't about our all these other ambiguous things. It's economics. It's the money. It's the fact that we don't that a teenager can sit in jail and over a backpack, but his mother doesn't have $200 to get him out of jail, so he has to endure the torture of being in lockup. And I think it was Rikers Island. That's the Khalif Brower story. That it was just heartbreaking.
You're
You
not
hear,
allowed to talk about that, Farida. You're not allowed to
because I'm
turn the mirror on the family. You can't do that, Farida, because it's everybody else's problem. It's that's what it, you have to understand. That's what it is, because
mhm,
it's not that I'm raising my child in a not so great situation. It's none of that. It's none of the
mhm.
upbringing that's doing this.
Oh no,
It's just the cops. It's just the
it's
school
everything
system.
else.
It's all these people that I rely on to raise my family. That's who's at fault, not the person they came out of, though. Not that
You
person.
know, it's out here, living out here, I see a lot of it too, because the LDS church, I will say, like I said, I'm not a member of that organization, but they
Yeah.
are organized. They have a
That's
community.
it.
They practice group economics. They to this extent, you can't even build a house out here because they run all the zoning laws. They run
And they
all
like,
this.
y'all, we dropping game. Sorry, Fred. I got
you
to
know
remind them because a nice little birdie told me people on YouTube don't do nothing unless you tell them what
they
to do.
tell them
So
what to do. Hit the
like
like
the
button.
stream, y'all, because now
Hit
we're
the
talking
like.
about the real, real,
The
real,
real,
real.
real. And what
Because
I
all the
see
people that came for
here.
the tech game, they came and left. So yeah,
Well, it's all relative, because in addition to, because you make the money, you got to be doing something with it. And
yeah.
here, we with our community, we have a problem with group economics. We got a problem with working with each other. You see other groups There's people out that do not like each other on a fundamental level, but they will do business with each other.
They
They will, they
hate
will,
each
they
other.
hate each other. They hate their families. They say some of the most, I've seen it, but we own this business and it pays us and it keeps us off the pole and we're going to just do this. And that's how it is. And that's group economics.
Yeah.
Don't nobody have to get along. Nobody has to, we're not a monolith. We don't have to all think the same, but I
Yeah.
think that there's something to be said about, a tipping point of enough of the collective within our community to be able to say, we're going to build this and this is going to be ours and we're going to protect this and we're going to guard it just like every other community does. And nobody's going to say anything or else we're going
Yeah.
to fight. We're just going to fight. That's warfare. That's just survival. I don't understand where we think this is
I
going to be
have a
this
question.
soft life. Never was it ever.
I have a question for you though.
I mean,
No, because okay, it's
women had to tell people that they were slaves.
thank you. Because okay, can I be real with you? Remember how I told you I was in all those gifted programs as a kid? They don't drill that stuff in your head when you're in the gifted programs, y'all. They
Mm-mm.
don't.
No.
And they literally teach you, okay, like I would tell you some of the stuff I learned. This is how you write a check.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you balance a checkbook.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, this part, because stocks back then, you would only be able to read the newspaper to find it.
Yeah.
They actually had like an entire class when I was like in the 4th grade about how to read the stock reports in the
Mm-hmm.
newspaper. And it's like little tiny numbers everywhere, but they
Mm-hmm.
taught us how to do that.
I remember
And
having a class in high school that taught us that too. Yeah. They
see,
don't
and
teach that stuff no more.
girl, they don't even teach them how to
I
handwrite. That was
know.
like 3rd grade for me. But it's like when you think about it, like when I look back, it's like, oh man, like dude, there were so many opportunities. Like I even had an opportunity to be published as a kid.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And yeah, but I was a dumbass. I lost the floppy disk. I was a dumbass. I like
We,
literally, he was ready to take it to the publisher, and I was like, "Oh, I lost my floppy
oh,
disk, man." Like, oh, I felt so stupid. That was my
well.
one. That was my one time. But but no, like I said, when those things, I think about those things, and I'm like, okay, I'm not the only person out here that had tons of opportunities that
Mm-hmm.
squandered them. But I
Right.
think, but like I said, if you're in a certain area, the you're not taught this shit, and it is
Mm-mm.
shit.
It
And the
is.
thing, and what I was gonna say is that um I was in the store the other day and I was looking at an advertisement. And you know how, okay, I'm okay with people getting with who they love. It's okay. Like
Yeah.
if you're black, your husband's white, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's fine. Because like I told y'all, I'm not pro black to the point that, if millionaire Todd walks in here, I'm gonna say, oh no, Todd, because
Hey,
oh no, Todd, I
I have to
can't.
keep it real.
Exactly.
I have to keep it
So
so real.
yeah, because see, the thing is, Todd is already about that. He about that group
Mm-hmm.
economics, and he like, look, we're gonna have some kids, and this is what we're gonna do.
Right. And we're gonna
Julio will
buy this
do it too. So let
property.
me, yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not just saying it's Todd, and it could be Jamal, but the thing
Mm-hmm.
is, Jamal is not trying to do it with Victoria. Jamal is trying to do it with Stacy.
Yeah.
Okay, and what I was gonna say about that is that the psychological warfare that's going on with us is so much deeper than just, hey, you
Yeah.
guys were slaves and this and this and that. It's not just
Right.
that. It's in advertisements too, and people just ignore it. And I was
Right.
looking at this ad the other day, and it was in the store. Across every, like, there were pictures of different people, and they had the girl that looked biracial with the,
Mm.
with the white girl standing there. So I said, okay, got it. They got that demo. And then they had the black guy with the white girl married, of
Mm.
course, because they never show us married.
No.
So I thought, okay, that got that demographic. Do you
Mm.
know who the Asian guy was with?
Interesting.
He
Who?
was with an Asian woman.
Mm.
That is one group amongst some
Mm-hmm.
others. You will never see them try to promote that and push that in the
Mm-mm.
media. So y'all
No.
need to start paying attention, because there's certain ones they keep pushing that shit out to us, and
Yeah.
it's like, it's, to me, I'm gonna say this and be done with it. There's a dilution
Mm.
tactic that is being played on us
Yeah.
right now,
Right.
and we're falling for it because
Right.
you've made it once you get the palm color. So
Right.
it's like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
y'all. That's not real, because there are certain groups you don't see that in the
You don't
media.
see that. You don't
You
see
don't
that.
see it, because
And you have to.
they're not gonna let their image, they're not gonna let that
Mm.
happen. So like
Right.
I said, for me, tech is a place where we can actually,
Yeah.
if we play our cards right, we could become the face of that.
We could, and we really could. We really, really could. In fact, we could actually. Speaking of Tam at Women in Linux, she was
Go
talking about
ahead. Sorry.
buying a data center, buying
Mm-hmm.
data centers. I was like, man, if I didn't never thought about that. I work in a data center. I
Right.
didn't realize you could buy a data center, and those things would be funded because they utilize a lot of utilities and a lot of electricity and things like that. The states would fund you to operate a data center because it's pretty much like a public utility. You're
Mm-hmm.
providing network access, basically,
Right.
and that just adds to more network access that we just need, cloud services, all and vendors can be using your, or customers will use your data center. I'm like, that is like nobody's we these are the only people that are only two people are having these conversations about buying a data center. I'm like, that like nobody, I couldn't. And it's tragic. It's tragic. It's heartbreaking because this is the reason why we are not we are not we're not seeing the respect. We're not
Mm-hmm.
seeing the with the whole Kanye thing, and how that whole thing went down. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, really, when it went down, I mean, like, they literally took all this guy's money. And I've heard many a white supremacist say the most egregious things. Nobody took their bank account. Nobody took their resources to that extent. So I mean, if we're not paying attention to how vulnerable we are when we want to be these lone wolves, and we want to just I'm just going to post up with my can of chili and be a red pill and listen to Joe Rogan, or whatever goofy mess these who, like I said, I don't understand a lot of this logic. But whatever minefield you fall into, you'll just end there. You are not going. I mean, how do you think that we're going to survive as a collective, as black people, as ADOS black people? How do you think that we're going to continue to survive um, without leverage, political leverage, without financial leverage? We won't, and we will, like you said, we will become deluded because people will think, well, if this is the only way I can survive is if I go and get a zaddy, and then all of a sudden, maybe I can have. I mean, and that's such a horrible way to think about it. You shouldn't have to think about it like that. But
I hate saying it, but it's like,
yeah,
okay, but who told me that? AM1, AM1, right? The
yeah,
guy, the videographer.
mm-hmm.
He, he said something about he said me, and I think he said Erica. He said, yeah, you guys don't seem like you're gonna marry within. And I'm like, sir, how do you know that? Because I'm
No,
I'm I'm honestly thinking that there is a Jamal in my future.
mm-hmm.
But he got to be a special kind, because it's like,
Yeah,
man, like he got to be a thinker and
mm-hmm.
and a doer,
And a doer,
and like, and I'm telling you, and I'm not even
and a,
talking about like chief of the
and a
village. I'm talking about chief
builder.
of the house, man. Like, just be the
Mhm.
damn chief of where you lay
Just
your head. Like, come on.
right. But you should be able to build something, build assets, build wealth, build something, instead of just, being just broke and vulnerable, just being, oh, well, I guess I'll just be at the whim of whatever, policy comes, and,
Yeah.
we can sing a spiritual about it. No, we shouldn't be singing suffrage songs. And honestly, we should be shaming that, because other groups shame that. Other communities shame that shit. They're like, you're not going to be
Yes,
out here
like
and talk
the
about and glorify being, a van life vagabond sleeping in Walmart parking lots, stinking up the place. You are not going to be out here doing that, and embarrassing us and all. No, that won't be
girl.
tolerated. And the people that are doing it, you see, what the scraps they're picking up. So it's just how it is. But we become so
Yeah.
comfortable. I think the one saving grace, I will say this: we don't need everybody, because we're not going to be able to take everybody, because not everybody has the exposure, not everybody has the motivation, not everybody sees the value in that sense. So you're not
I
going to get
struggle with that
everyone.
though. I struggle
Mm-hmm.
with the not everybody can come because I'm of the belief, and this is where I know I have growing up to do, which is partially
Mm-hmm.
why I do credit repair. It's because I know that people can always bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
And but the bounce back is not easy. That's the part that I
Mm-hmm.
think people forget, because like people have comeback stories all the time, even in the other cultures, but they don't share with you what goes on behind closed doors. So in
Mm-hmm.
your head, you think the success story is, oh, they just woke up one day and it all fell into place. It's like, no, like there are people like, what's his name? Anthony O'Neill, he talks about how he
Mm-hmm.
slept in his car for like a
Yeah.
year or something like that. And it's like, but if you look at him now, he has a Bentley. Okay. It's like,
Okay.
you know, and a bunch of other stuff. I'm sure he has more than just the Bentley, but
Yeah.
it's like, but he applied himself to life. It's not
Right.
just got a degree. It's like, no, he actually looked at life like, okay, this is a less like this is a school. Like
Yes.
life is school. That's really all it
Mm-hmm.
is. And you have to take the lessons that are for you. Not
Yeah.
everybody's lesson is your lesson. So you got to tap
Mm-hmm.
into what your lesson was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to pivot. But
Right.
you have to know that and believe in your gut that
Yeah.
you can pivot.
Right.
And like I said, because the media and even social media, even YouTube, even all of that, it'll have you thinking, if you don't look a certain way, if you're not a certain
Yeah.
person, that the cards are not in your favor. But I'm here to tell you that's not true.
It's.
And there is, like I said, there's a concerted effort to dim your light,
Mm-hmm.
for lack of a better term, and there's a concerted effort to keep you in a low vibration.
Yes.
And
Yes.
there's a concerted effort. I'm gonna keep saying that word because you know I'd be liking to sound smart.
Mm-hmm. It's
There's
by
a
design.
concerted effort. Yeah, it's by design. There, you summed it up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason, and it's not hard to keep people in a low frequency
Right.
like that kid in the van life thing. One of two things is going to happen: he's going to revolt,
Mm-hmm.
or he's going to slide into that life too,
Yeah.
and he's going to accept that as his base level, and he'll always go back to that, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's going to take an outside influence outside of his mom to
Yep.
show him something else is possible, because you could like you can like, okay, let's say you grew up in a single family household, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your mom could tell you all day, every day, it's best to be married. You got to be married. You got to do this. You got to do that. But you're going to look at what she does,
Does.
not what she says. And
Right.
you're going to say, but no, because if it was so great, why the hell didn't you do it?
Because on a subconscious level, if that's a cognizant dissonance right there. I'm
Mhm.
telling you to do one thing, but yeah, I'm gonna still be this proud single mom shaking it up, and you know, it's just us. It's like, okay, that's fine. If I understand circumstances happen, but what you
For sure.
see is this glamorization of it, and
Mhm.
I know a lot of single moms. There's some of my very good friends are single moms, and they'll tell you that shit's
Mhm.
hard. It's hard, and if they could find someone to help them, they would take the help, because after a
So
while that shit
Patty,
gets old. Of anybody, even with a Jerome, with a Ray, I don't. I've seen it all, and as long as somebody will be there to fix a light, to help
yep.
out, just some, I mean, and that's not saying much, but they will, even they admit, I wouldn't want this for my kids, to follow in this, because it's
Sure.
hard, it's not easy, and this whole glamping of I know some of those, the moms are going down to Costa Rica. Erica did a show about it the other day and stuff, and it's like, I guess that is good. If they can go down there and they can, you know, maximize, their little pennies down there, that's fine. But you're in a different country. I mean, I'm sure Panama and those countries are great, but we come back and forth. We are expats, so it's not like we're stuck there. Whereas if that's all you got, and I'm just gonna have to make this work. What if something, you never know, if you needed to leave that country, and then you're broke because you thought, well, I'm just gonna just see if this is going to be the best for us. I mean, like I said, it's a means to an ends, and I'm not judging it, but
Yeah.
I just don't know how sustainable these things are when we could put that effort into building. If you want to be single, that's fine, but
Mhm.
just build something or work with some people to build something, have I think about it in terms of, building, bigger infrastructure. So, I mean, what if we all owned a bank? What if we all got together, owned a data center? What if we got, group economics, real things like that, that other communities do, even if they vehemently hate each other? I'm not asking people to agree with me on, divisive issues and things like that. I'm just saying, can we all partner together and buy this piece of real estate without, fighting with each other, and then we could, split the proceeds and then maybe rinse and repeat this again, you know?
How many people think that
We're
do
not
y'all
having a
like when was the last two that was in office? Do y'all think that Donald Trump and Mike Pence liked each other?
no, hell no.
Like, and do you think honestly, do you think Ivanka, whatever the hell her name is, who's the wife?
I don't know.
Melania.
Yeah,
Melania like
Melania.
him? No. It's like
No,
no. But
no.
but but see, this is what it is too. And I actually wrote this in my journal. It's so funny that it's not the person, it's the people. Yes, people matter, but what you have to understand is how, like, the way that these people are able to succeed economically, and the way that they're able to have these stereotypes that we bestow upon them, like Asians are good with math, and Jewish people are this or that, and Hispanic
Hmm.
people work really hard. The way that they're able to maintain that is because they have a goal, or they have
Hmm.
like a code of ethics that is
Yeah,
bigger than the people.
and
It's
the
that they
people
have yeah, they have a cause, they have
agenda. They have the agenda.
then the mission
Hmm.
is more important than the person. Because
Right.
I was even thinking about that, and um when I think about how women want children,
Hmm.
sometimes it's not even the fact that the man himself is like just a part of that equation.
Yeah.
He's your partner in that. He's
Hmm.
just the ultimate thing that both of you probably want is the kid. The kid
Hmm.
is the greater mission.
Hmm.
It's not getting the man.
Yeah,
He's just part of the
it's
equation. The
part of the
ultimate goal is
equation.
the kid.
This is a
And
business, and
yeah, and
this
the
is a
kid and the
contract.
yes, and so many
Hmm.
people, when you accept it, it's not a
Hmm.
nasty thing. It's just
Hmm.
we're both a means to an end because we
Hmm.
want our lineage to perpetuate. We want to keep
Right.
going. So this is a necessary evil,
Cool.
right?
This, yes, that's why they
And
have arranged marriages. That's why
yeah,
all communities do that a lot. It's not uncommon. I mean,
not at all.
not at
And
all.
it works. And because we're too focused on happiness, but
Hmm.
my thing is happiness is fleeting.
Yes.
And it's just an emotional response. It's just
Response.
some things kind of
Hmm.
firing off in your head,
It's
right?
not rational. It's not rational because we're not
Yeah.
really thinking about, what's the back, what's going to happen when, our 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 ability to financially, sustain ourselves, falls below that threshold to the point
Mhm.
where, we really will be left to delete ourselves or go to a euthanasia camp. I mean,
Yeah.
we really don't know how grim this could get. And to me, that was a big wake up call because, you don't think about, I don't need no retirement, no 401k. But when they were talking about that, I just something just said, this has got to wake you up because, I don't have children. I don't and I don't expect, if I did have children, I wouldn't think that they would be my retirement plan. I
No.
would not expect them to be my what is it, my assisted living and retirement 401k, because if they're going off of if they're going on off the previous generation's record, then they're not going to do any better than we did.
Yeah.
That's just what that's what this is. All of this stuff that this is why we need to shame this stuff, because we have generations that are coming along that are watching, that it could be, the potential game changers. They could be that motivated mindset that could do the things that we're talking about, dominating fields and really, leveraging up. But we want reparations, but how? What are they going to give us reparations for when we don't have no political or economic leverage like other groups do, and they can get hate crime bills and all these other tangible benefits from government, from government, and of all the people in the world, government really owes us. They owe us the most tremendous debt, but we can't get ourselves aligned enough to even, be in, just to have a commonality around that. Because, well, why would we want all that? Because Black people are just going to use it. I mean, all of this other divisive stuff, and it's like, look, what do we want? We have to decide.
What do we want? Okay, listen.
You
Here,
know,
okay. When it comes to that, let me not lose my trail of thought here. And now I'm going off of fumes, y'all, because I know I could miss a few meals, but y'all, I had a bagel this morning and that was it. So I'm going off the spirit of the Lord.
I had
So,
a green drink, so
ooh, girls, I know you firing.
my aging greens, I drink that. But yeah, but no, I mean, really, like, we think that this is going to get better in generation after generation, and it will get progressively worse. And then, historically, the people that helped built this country, fundamentally built this country. We are one of the I would argue, the truest Americans, because we were, that just because of the history of how we got here, and the
Yeah,
disgust that, we still can't get, um, that debt needs to be paid. But they're only going to pay that debt to us if they feel like, well, what, you have no leverage. You don't own anything. You don't have any political, I mean, whatever candidates you get from people, from other groups, from other people, and they decide your agenda. So how are you gonna, dictate to the government, what you think that you're owed. That's where
yeah,
power is not given, it's taken. We have to take that shit. We have to fight that shit and continue to fight. And that means that we got to work together. That just requires us to become group focused. Do we got to marry each other? Maybe not. But we should be able to at least do business with each other.
let's
We
be
should be
real.
able
We honestly should. And I
we
think we went from talking to tech to this, but it's everything in life is systematic.
systematic. And it's
Because
relative too. It's relative.
yeah, and I
Because of,
think people need to stop acting like these are all compartmentalized parts of life
mm,
when it's not. Because going into IT in whatever capacity, because if you're a talker, get your ass into sales.
mhm,
If you're, I don't know, pick your poison, y'all. But look, it's like I said, there's gonna have to be a few years where we're gonna have to do shit that we don't want to do. It's gonna be an uphill type of battle. And I've seen enough of one specific group. Like I said, I'm trying to be careful, but it's like
mhm,
they get, I think, $1,500 a month for a lot
mhm,
of them from a
mhm.
specific fund for it's
Yeah,
the hologram fund. We'll call it
yeah.
that. We'll call it
Oh,
from the hologram.
yeah.
So from the hologram,
Mm,
these people were able to organize. But you know
right.
what? That's because they have lawyers
Yep.
in their camp. That's because they have
Mhm.
doctors. That's because
Doctors.
if you go where I lived in Hollywood, and I told this story, I think when Diamond Dave was on my show, they're untouchable because
Mhm.
if you drive down La Brea in LA,
Oh,
between
mhm,
LA going into Hollywood,
mhm.
they have their own schools.
Yeah.
They have there's these stretches of blocks where all you
Mhm.
see is whatever that language is that they be talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And you're like, wait a minute, excuse me. So they have their own bus systems, they have their
Mhm.
own doctors, they have their own like
Mhm.
doctors' offices, hospitals, whatever.
Mhm.
They have all that
Yeah.
stuff. They have
It
all of that, right?
mhm.
But and it's because, and also, they're, I guess they're Hasidic, but they don't
Mhm.
use electricity. So Friday night,
Yeah.
it's a certain stretch of LA, it's all dark,
It's
y'all.
all dark.
And what you
Mhm.
see, yeah, and all you see on Saturdays, you see the women pushing buggies, you see the men
Mhm.
pushing strollers,
Mhm.
the children out playing. I
Yeah.
remember one time I was driving down the street, going to my mailbox over in Beverly Hills.
Mhm.
All I saw, it had to be like 20 of them. It was kids,
Wow.
right? And they had their little button-up white shirts on and their dark
Mhm.
slacks and their yarmulkes,
Okay.
and it was a swarm of them, and it was dark, girl, it was nighttime.
Wow.
And I was, like, looking like, "Okay, I gotta lock my doors, like, I'm about to get attacked over here, like, wait a minute." And as I look closer, I'm like, "Oh, it's children."
Uh-huh.
But their
Mhm.
neighborhood is so safe
Is that
because
safe?
they're, we're not
Mhm.
saying those women are the happiest, we're not saying those men are the happiest,
No. And
but
it's not about that. It's not even about it's not about their happiness, because
yes,
it's the goal, the survival is so
yes,
much, so critical. And honestly, what they they're what they've been through. I'm, hey, if any community has a justice claim with this country or any country, they need to take it up with them and they need to get it rectified. And this government's made a ton of money. And like Diamond Dave said, you don't know what kind of liquidity they got behind there, and they just can print money when they feel like it.
Yep.
They just tell us we need to fight each other in the street. So,
Because it's easy. It's very
mhm,
basal, is that what they call it? But it's very I don't want to say animalistic, but it's like
mhm,
um everybody in society has a role, whether
right.
we agree or not. We
Whether
do.
we agree or not. Mhm.
And in this juncture in history, we are the like America's like whiny little brother or
Yeah,
little sister, where all we do is cry about stuff
yeah.
and talk about how things are not fair.
Hmm.
And we wait
We
for people
wait.
to relate to us, and we wait
Hmm.
for people to feel our pain.
Right. But we
I
got to
will
be we have to be the conscious. Why do we have to be the moral conscience for other people? I never understood that. Why am I the moral I just don't understand that. But like you
You're the
said,
spiritual Negro. What are you talking
I
about? You
guess
have to.
let's sing a spiritual. Let's do
Or
it.
magical Negro, that's what they call it, the magical
Yeah, the
Negro
magical
without the Key and
Negro.
Peele. Yeah, you're the
I
magical Negro.
guess we're
Um,
magical.
but I think honestly, a lot I'm glad the internet's here because a lot of us
Hmm.
are able to speak our mind on it. And like I
Hmm.
said, I'm a credit lady, but people don't know that I have these beliefs, but I do. And um excuse me. That's why we're calling this the solutionist experience,
Hmm.
because
Right.
I mean,
I think
we're gonna settle on something,
a
but
lot of people, a lot of groups, other groups have the same. They do the same thing. We're just we're the only collective that just seems like we're just so out of sorts with all this. Like, okay, everybody's sticking together. Why are they sticking together? And why ain't they helping us? Because we were so used to getting, and we've never learned to be collect. Oh, well, we okay. I'll take that back because we do have, Black
we
Wall
have the
Street.
ability.
We
Yeah, we
do.
do.
We have the
Yeah.
ability and the capability. We've proved the concept. But right now, with the advent of all these comforts and stimulus checks and PPP and all this other stuff, we just get so distracted. Other
Yeah.
groups are focused, and we just want to party. And it's like it just can't be a party anymore. The '90s are over. Freaknik is over. I don't know. Are they still doing Freaknik
You
anymore?
know what?
I don't know.
This conversation is so oh my god, it's like deja vu. Because I
It,
was gonna say we're very double-minded
mhm,
as a group
mhm,
because okay, I'm gonna say three things and hopefully I can stay on track.
mhm.
Number one, there is no other group that openly talks about their disdain for
Yes.
men and the women.
Yes.
No other group that does that in public. Like you were saying earlier, we're just gonna use palm color people. Now
Right.
this could be any race, guys. This could be
Yeah.
any race that's palm colored.
Mhm.
It could even be mulattoes. So
Mhm.
here's what I'm saying. They don't do it in public,
Mm-mm.
but we do.
We do.
I've been in household with palm coloreds where I hear how the wife talks to the husband and it's like, holy crap.
Wow.
And
Okay.
but outside they present a united front
Oh.
because the mission is stronger than
Mhm.
what how they feel about each other. And they're both
Right.
getting there's mutual benefit there
Mhm.
to putting
There
up
it
the
is.
good in the front, right? And the second thing I was gonna say is that shit, where was I going with that? Hold on. Okay, United Front, that was one thing.
Mhm.
I think the bagel might have burned all the way through my stomach. But
But they have a common goal. They see something bigger than
I
just
was totally going
themselves.
somewhere with that.
Oh, you're good.
Um, hold
They just
on,
see
hold on.
something bigger than themselves, and you know. So
Okay, that's
you're marrying people, but you're not marrying for love. You might hate each other, but listen, if we can make this money right, we'll just do other things on the side. It is what it is. I mean,
but why? Okay,
this is
but
how
that's
people.
what I was. The other groups. What I was gonna say is that okay, we talked about they don't have the disdain out in the public.
Mhm.
They will marry the person that they impregnate
Yeah.
too, whether they like them or not.
We
Like
they don't. Yeah.
y'all, it's not that deep. We talk
Mm-mm.
about a piece of paper, it's just a piece of paper. Well, okay, so is your birth certificate.
Yeah.
So is
Social
your
card
car
registration.
registration.
Yeah.
Hello. So is that paycheck from
So
ADP
what?
that you
All
should be
right.
working in the tech field with, but you choose not to.
You choose not to.
Like 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 I said, what it is that right now we're just being fed emotional
Mm-hmm.
um distraction, I guess, for
Right.
lack of a better term. And it's like it frustrates me because I can see it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I know what's happening. And I think if
Right.
people had to put out like an advertisement or had to, because this only opened up for me once I started a business, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you got to trick people sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So when I started to see that, I was like, oh, you got to like kind of, you got to push people in a certain direction.
And
So
make him
once,
think that it was their own idea.
yeah. So once I saw that,
Mm-hmm.
now I pay attention to advertisements more. Now I
Mm-hmm.
notice, oh, why is it that the interracial couple gets more play on YouTube than the
Right.
black husband and wife that are married?
Right.
Why is it that you're only showing us that our millionaires are rappers and
Right. Entertainers and athletes.
entertainers? Right. And I'm like, an entertainer is nothing more than a court jester.
Right.
And what
A
does a court
360
jester
deal.
do?
They just act a fool.
Right, a court jester is there to act a fool, like you said, and to distract you.
Just
The
to
the
attract you.
the
Mm-hmm.
court jester is there for amusement,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to think for yourself too. Why do these people get paid so much, essentially, to do what you and I are doing, which is sitting on a camera and
Mm-hmm.
talking into a microphone or whatever? Okay. Let's really think about an actor. And I had a friend get really upset with me one time about this because because I guess I made him feel stupid, but I said, "Sir, these actors get paid to lie for a living.
Yes.
So if you get paid millions of dollars to lie for a living, because you're pretending to be somebody else, so you are lying, okay? It's
Right.
make believe, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Call it what you want. It's an art, whatever. You're pretending to be someone else.
Helps.
You're channeling another personality.
How could you imagine what that does to you psychologically?
Yes, it's deeper than what you're thinking. So it's like, why would I pay somebody that much money? It's because
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing dumbs the public down so much,
Mm-hmm.
it's worth its weight in gold.
It's worth its weight. And we love escapism.
Yes. So escapism is
Mhm.
just, oh man, it's this wonderful, juicy thing that we can all just sink our teeth into.
So they're just serving the demand. That's all it
Yes.
is. They're
And
just
but
serving the demand.
it's so hard to get out of that though, like to look at it for what it is and then be honest with yourself when you're jumping into it and when you're
Mhm.
partaking.
Yep.
You know what
Because
I mean?
it's,
Like,
I mean, because this escapism is something else. And, now, like I said, when the job landscape changes and no more of these, you know, $16 an hour warehouse jobs or working at working in box store retail or just, all these other, low aspirational, you know, task, like jobs, task rapid jobs. They're going to be automated. And then what are you going to do? Are you going to, I mean, I don't know. I don't think we can even protest at that point. I mean, they did that. The 99% did that, they did that back in
oh,
2000.
girl, I was gonna say, one this came to me one night. How did we go from doing the Million Man March and then like going to Freaknik like a couple of months later?
Right.
That's what I was gonna say about the double-minded thing before it left my brain. But that's what I'm saying. We're showing society that we're
Mhm.
very double-minded
We're
and that
double-minded.
we have no focus. So why would
Hmm.
they give us anything? Why would
And
they give us reparations?
and if we're not serious with each other in these forums and in these and when people when outside looking in, we're not serious. And when I mean when we're not serious, we're not I mean, some of the chicanery we see on I don't want to do this, and I want someone to spoon feed it to me, or just the lack of motivation, the lack of aspiration, and the lack of these things. And we can say it because this is our community, and somebody has to say it. So we have to hold each other accountable because our survival is at stake. And the problem is we don't prioritize that. Other groups are prioritizing these things, and it's so foreign to us. That's
We're
so
always looking backwards. I think
we're
that's
always
a problem.
and then on top of that, that makes us so late to the game. I'm late to the game. And from what I've seen, I've seen, like, so much in the small amount of time that I have. I can only imagine what I would have accomplished if I'd had, got in there in my 20s. But it's not here, neither here nor there. I think when you get there, you get there. But this celebration of everything's a fish fry or a cookout. We can't really have, when it comes to our caucus, we're all about other things. We're not talking about issues pertaining specifically to our community, specifically to wealth building, specifically to, to enhancing our livelihood and our existence in that sense, because everybody else is doing that. When they were talking to when that LA City Council lady, that Nuri Martinez, said those things about
Oh
those
yeah.
anti-black statements, and then they ended up making her, resign. They were talking about keeping wealth and resources within their group. They were talking about shutting other people out, and what that lady said. F that one dude because he's with the blacks. I know she was recorded saying that. Irony is it was people from the dominant society that recorded them and ousted them. So just so
That's
y'all
what I said, girl.
know.
They be with that warfare stuff, and our thing is
Hmm.
we're not good with covert tactics,
Yeah.
which is why I commend people who, I guess I won't say their names because I know they do this behind the scenes on their paid platforms where they really go into deep discussions about this,
Hmm.
because these are things that do need to be discussed off air, and they need to be like, if we have a plan or even just an idea, you know what I mean? It doesn't need to be publicized. It's like,
Hmm.
you talk about that stuff. If you need a government grant to get whatever you need off
Hmm.
the ground, we need to figure out how to do that. And we ain't got to tell
Hmm.
people about it. We'll put it on social media once it's done.
We can keep, and keep it sync like other groups do. I
Yes.
mean, we're the only ones operating differently. We really are, and it's to our
I'm
detriment. It is to our detriment, and I'm
We're
like,
giving the playbook. We're giving the playbook out,
mhm,
like I told you, the Amazon kids that show all the warehouse inside on TikTok. That's what we're doing by telling
mhm,
people. It's
yeah,
like I said, for me, my biggest pet peeve with us is the infighting. I don't like that. I don't like that other races know that black men
mhm,
don't like black women.
yeah,
I don't like that they think that they see that black women talk down about black men. I
yeah,
don't like that we have let that be exposed to the public. I don't like that.
because they don't do that. They
And
don't
we
do that
look so
openly.
dysfunctional. We
Hmm.
look so dysfunctional with that. And it's
Hmm.
like,
But we don't build anything together with each other. We have
yes.
people that say stuff. I mean, like I said, there's not a lot of people that look like me in the field. Luckily, I've other, people of my persuasion, they're all right. I've had good rapport, but there are individuals that
Mhm.
just want to hold that, that want to gatekeep that and keep, and want to be that special lone Negro, from amongst all these other, be that special, token
Mhm.
person, and they don't see how dangerous and how vulnerable that position is, when we operate like that. And that's what I think is, in this space, if we're going to get into this space, we can't be doing that. We need to be able to build pathways into these spaces, and then on top of that, we need to be getting into private equity. We need to be getting
Mhm.
into venture capital. We need to be pulling our money together and funding our own potential, because if they can have potential, we have potential. We got shit that we've done. We have proof. So we don't, right now we're just wasting time. We're playing games, and I know people are like, you're so against black people. Hey, you're so against black people, because
No.
if we don't take this seriously, our economic situation, if we do not honestly take these things seriously, things like our credit, things like saving, buying, owning a home and not just renting, being able to be a homeowner, you that affords you a voice. You can go to your municipalities and you can complain about things because you're a property owner. We can't do that when we're squatting in the projects or in some low income housing, and then we want more low income housing, but we don't want to do the work to elevate ourselves and be these high earners, and because we just think that's just that's lies, and that's just people making up stuff. But so it'll be what it is, and we'll just be, there will be some of us who will find each other and we'll build things, and we'll make progress where we can in
Mhm.
the spaces that we can. But then I hate to see it, but a lot of people aren't going to come with us, and a lot of people will choose not to because of their conditioning. And then that's what it is too. A lot of that's conditioning. It took us how many 100 years to get to this point? It's going to take us twice as long to get out of it. I really feel like that because it's the progress that we're making right now. But I think, you know, we don't need everybody. And I think we can make big changes. We can really make some big, if 6 people in what was that place in Atlanta where they incorporated that little Sandy Springs, what is it called? That area down there, they incorporated it. So
Is
they
it?
made their own.
I know Sandy Springs is rich folk. So
Yeah, one of those because they didn't want all the crime from the Atlanta Metro, so they basically incorporated that area. So they got their own police, their own infrastructure. So they're not dealing with the riffraff with the
I
rest of
used to live
the
in a city like that in California. I don't talk about that very much, but I did used to live in a city like that,
Mhm.
and it was the safest I ever felt in my life.
Yeah, it's planned communities. I mean, this is just what's gonna and I see it all the time, but not everybody will not everybody is built or wants or desires growth. And that's tragic, but it is what it is. And you can only save yourself. Like I said, Harriet Tubman taking people across Dixie Mason line. She had to tell people, "Hey, listen, you are in chattel slavery. Can we go and argue with folks and convince them that freedom is their birthright?" I mean, we're still kind of, in a sense, still trying to have those conversations on
Yeah.
some level. On some level, we're still trying to have, and you still have the resistance. So, like I said, I try to inspire, as many people as I can, people who come up to me and ask me about what I do. And I'm always going to share my knowledge because I have to represent it. I have to at least be I can't, I'm not going to gatekeep. And if I can help somebody of my persuasion, I'm going to do it because everybody else is doing the same thing. Everybody
Mhm.
else is using nepotism. Every else is using their networks. Why can't we do that? Why is it such a bad thing when we do it? So I'm
We
just
can't do it because we wanna be the only ones. I have one set of cousins that practice nepotism, and I think that they are brilliant for doing so, and
Mhm.
one of them is the reason my brother's in aerospace because he brought him along, and I'm like, "Okay, at
Mhm.
least you got one of us. It was 3 of us, brother, but okay, you only brought 1, it's cool."
Mhm.
But no,
You know.
I have a cousin where all his kids well, no, actually, they're not all in aerospace, but, I know one of them is,
Mhm.
and the other 2 could if they wanted to, but they don't want to. One is, I
Yeah.
think, he plays ball overseas, and then another one, I think, is a realtor, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. It's not too
So,
bad.
but
But
still, if they wanna come home and get into aerospace, they always can, you know?
mhm.
They know what's up.
They know what's up, and
Um,
they've had the exposure. Think about the people
yeah,
who will never get exposure. They're not having these conversations. They're not and the media and the content that they're watching is whatever chicanery, whatever debauchery is on, and
yeah,
that's what they're in. That's how they're operating. That's where that's why we're not able to critically think on a level, and we're
yeah,
bamboozled, and we're just it's just really low vibrational, and that's what's rewarded. We're just going to have to decide. I mean, there's only a certain point where you just have to, somebody's got to wake up, and somebody's got to shake it up. Somebody's got to say something. But if nobody's listening, I can only just save myself. I'm not going to I'm not going to go into poverty just to be cool, just as a to struggle. What is it, struggle bond, all this stuff,
trauma bond. We
trauma
trauma bond
bond.
a lot, and that's so whack. I never hear other people doing that.
It is not. In this soft life, I don't even know what the hell that is. I just heard about that.
It's poverty. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. I'm all for getting a facial because I did buy this little stone roller thing for my
Mhm,
face last night. Oh my god, I was in heaven, and I didn't
mhm.
realize how nice it is to have your face rubbed. And
Yeah,
like, and I mean, because there's a lot of tension for those of us that look at computer screens all day.
yeah.
Little stuff like that, I totally get. But to be sipping champagne every day and everything you wear is light pink,
Light
and
pink,
it's
and
like this.
who's paying the bills?
Right, it's like, "Girl, stop." It's like
Who?
and like I said, if once you start trying to having to sell a product or service,
Mhm,
you understand what they're doing, and you're just
yeah,
like, "Oh, because honey, we're not even" the reason I don't buy it from the black chicks, for one, is because It's just not true. It's just not true
Mm-mm.
for us. If you lined us all up, I don't know every black woman, of course, but if you lined us all up, that is not us.
It's not
Okay.
us.
That's not our aesthetic. Okay. That's not even who we really are. Let's be
Mm-mm.
real. Okay.
Mm-mm.
We do have soft femininity. I believe that. I just, I do. Because girl, I'm waiting for somebody to come tell me what to do. I would love it. But but on the whole, that's not really who we are. Like I do notice that we actually do like to get into things and get things done. And that is a part of who we are. I think we all have that in us, but I think that's more of a human thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because other
Yeah.
other women do that too. They
Yeah.
just wait until they snag you, and
Yeah.
then they turn the tables, and then the real them comes out. So
Watch
I think
out.
we're trying too hard to
Mm-hmm.
put the front on. So that's why it comes
Mm-hmm.
across as disingenuous, because that's
Yeah.
not who we really are.
That's not who we really are.
And we weren't trained to be that way. Our mothers didn't train us that way. So it comes across unnatural,
Mm-hmm. Very
you know?
unnatural, and very
Nobody's
staged, and
buying it.
very, yeah. And so, and the thing is they don't realize that everybody sees through that shit.
Well, yeah, they do. They just be laughing. They be like, "Oh,
They
look
just,
at her. She's so cute with her little wig on. Look at her. Look at
you
her."
know, they're just
Because
like,
I'll be like, "Why don't you come on without it?" Because even people okay, we got so far off of tech, girl. But like, okay,
it's all
I
relative.
I no, because I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, okay, if you look through some of my live streams, I'm literally on there with no makeup and a head rag. And I was like, I'm debating on taking that shit down. But then at the same time, I'm like, but that's actually me. So if
Yeah.
it's some man lurking in the shadows and be like, I wonder what she looked like without makeup. Homie, go 6 months ago. It's a whole bunch of videos on there.
Right.
Book
Yeah.
a consult with me. I don't be coming on there with makeup half the time. You might get
Okay.
me on a good day when I got on makeup when
Mhm.
we do a consultation on a
This is how
campaign.
I go to work every day. I work in a warehouse. I get dirty.
I'm just
There's,
saying,
why would
but
I
we're,
want to
but we're
put
not
my
all like
face?
that, you know?
Mm-mm. I mean,
We're
yeah, it's just a bunch of smoke and mirrors. But like I said, at the while they're diving deep into this, they're not building anything, and
no.
time goes by, and as time goes by, and you're still living in Section 8, and then they take away, and then all your $20 rent, $120 rent with inflation, that cheap rent isn't there anymore, and you can't depend on that. Oh, you should have bought a house, really? Because now rents is, the market rent is really high. Like these
Yep.
things, we're just not doing the math, and we just figure, well, we'll just figure it out when we get there. Well, when you get there, they're gonna shut the door in your face, and then they're gonna tell you to go sleep in a park, or delete yourself, or go live in a van, or in a minivan, or in a Mini Cooper, or something like that. It's like there's,
Mhm.
we're really, really playing a dangerous game and not taking these things seriously when other groups are. And
It's life
all
or
I
death for them. It's life or death
Mhm.
for them.
It is. It really is, and it is for us too. It is for us too.
But girl, they got us thinking our only enemy out here is the police. I'm like, y'all, your enemy is the damn TV.
Is the TV.
Half,
I
half
mean,
of them don't even know they enemy is Tyler Perry. Half of them don't even know that.
well, and if they're worried about the police, you got to worry about all the police, because we just saw the incident with the five.
Oh, the young man, yeah.
Yeah, and that whole that is just insanity, of itself. But we're so punitive with each other like that, on a level like other groups just don't. They don't express that publicly like that. Their disdain for each other when they do, but
They fight
yeah.
on paper. That's the
Hmm.
that's the that's the interesting thing. And I notice whenever we fight on paper,
Hmm.
we are we are villainized for that. Like when a woman goes after child support, she's doing what she's supposed to do. She's fighting you on paper.
Paper.
She's
Yeah.
she's not if she's smart, she's not going and fighting you in the street. She's
No.
not going and getting on social media. He's a deadbeat. He's this,
Yes.
he's that.
Yeah.
She's
Doing all
not
sorts
cleaning
of.
your car. No.
Yeah.
She's fighting like her counterpart would. She
Yeah.
says, "Oh, okay. Well, homie, you don't have to be there, but you're gonna be
You're gonna
there.
be there. We'll
Yeah,
take it
your
to the
wallet's
courts.
gonna be there."
Take it to the
Um,
courts.
yeah, because it's like if you don't play fair and you don't play like okay, I'm gonna say this and be done because this is way off topic. But to implant another little human inside of a person with no intent to be there, you were the one that started that dirty game, sir.
I don't
So
understand. I
because you
just,
no, but it's when you deviate from how things are really supposed to be,
mhm,
you got to take all the consequences that come with that.
come with that.
And
Yeah,
her fighting you on paper comes with that
yeah.
because you decided to play it crooked,
And
right?
so, well,
Even
I'll
if
just figure it out when it gets there. It's
yeah.
gonna work out. And then they're taking all your check, and now you're complaining about, oh, child support's taking my money, or now I'm gonna work all these under table, like all this goofy stuff.
And literally it is, and like I said, we fight with our ego, which sucks
Mhm,
because it's like you can't be upset that she fought you on paper, because then what happens if you get upset about it, what happens is most men, not all, because some will go back
mhm,
and fight and make it to where it's
yeah,
even and it's fair, but
mhm.
some will rebel
Right.
like a child would. They'll rebel, and then now you can't be a passport bro because your passport's going to get revoked because you stopped
Mhm.
paying child
Pay
support.
child support. Your
You're gonna
license could
get
get
fired.
taken away.
Yeah, exactly, and you're gonna get fired
Mhm.
from that great job with all that
That great
security
job.
clearance.
Mhm,
You're not gonna be able to rent in a good area to get the dime piece that you wanna marry. It's like, when you think about the many
mhm.
responses we have, it's like you're shooting yourself in the foot by
But
not playing the game properly. And then when somebody drops the hammer on you, now your whole life, you're changing the course of your life.
yeah.
Now you're limited. You can't travel. Like you said, you can't get certain jobs. You have to
Mm-mm.
be at a certain income level. There's some men that won't work because they got put on
Yes.
child support. I've processed paperwork where I see $1 child support, and then I see that the person didn't even pay that. So that to me is a man handicapping himself. She didn't do
Self.
that to him. He did that to him,
Mhm.
right?
And not
So we
making
gotta
proper
get rid of that
choices.
part. We gotta let that go.
We gotta let it go. And on top of that, if child support is your Achilles heel, and you're not ambitious enough to go out there and make more money to the extent that that's not going to be a burden to you, that's problematic. And you shouldn't be. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you shouldn't
He
be
can't
just.
be trusted. That kind of guy is
Mm,
one of the ones we don't want to take with us. And don't get me wrong, guys, we don't want to take the women that have babies with a bunch of different dudes either. We don't want to take them either. We want to leave all of y'all on an island by yourselves.
it's
We
not. It's
don't.
not even. I mean, because it's like this. It's like this. It's like, you know. The burden, this is, you can't call on the village when it's convenient. I want the village to come and, do this and that, but then, when we said, the village says, maybe don't have another baby if you're struggling with these two. Don't tell me what to do. I'm independent.
Yeah.
I mean, and then it's
What
like
the
that.
heck?
So you can't call the village when you want it, and that's kind of like, what I see a lot of times, because it's like, okay, it's just not even like, I don't have children because I know that there was a point where I could not financially do it. I just didn't have it, and it did not make sense for me to go and bring a life when I could not support it, and I was, going to rely on the whims of whoever to support me and this child, or maybe I could live in a van. I mean, there's a lot of this
Live
goof.
in a
I
van.
don't
Somebody go tell us who that girl is, because Lord, I was ready to come for her.
Right. I can't be living in no van with no children like that. I mean, I want to be in a house. I want to be married. I would want to be in a situation that is conducive for that. I would want them to be able to have educational opportunities. When you hear about parents not wanting to put their kids in tutoring, but they can spend money on going to the club and going to do whatever, whatever, but they're your life on social media. I'm like,
And that hair tight too, because I be looking like, yeah.
you know, I feel some type of way about that, because people will be like, well, you don't know what it's like to have children. Well, no shit, but I know what it's like to be poor, and I know what it's like to be a single person with no money, and I know what it's like to be a kid, and I know, how kids are with other kids that are,
That was what say that.
I
That's the
know.
most important part.
Mhm.
I remember being a kid.
Kid. I
That's the
remember,
most important part.
and I remember when your parents fought about money, and you remember the stress and the
Mhm.
things you couldn't have, and the things you couldn't, the opportunities that were closed to you, and the shame, and you internalize that. That's the other thing, is poverty is internalized to the extent you second guess your own your own, and people are like, no, you don't. You're always gonna think you're the shit. No, you don't. Not when you're starving and you don't have, when you are economically strapped and stressed, you're not in a posture to be your best and to think your best and to engage, at your best. You're back in belly, and imagine being a child growing up into that, and we think that's honorable. We think that somehow builds character, and that somehow that builds, that builds up a person, and that doesn't. That breaks people down. That degrades their ability to want to do more. It degrades their ambition, and those are the things that societies need. Those are the things that people, that communities need to flourish. To keep the generations coming. Otherwise, what's the point? We're all going to die poor and hungry anyway. I mean, is this going to be some dystopian, futuristic Blade Runner like, reality where, you know, just this group of people is living back to belly like that? I mean, sometimes it feels like it's going to, I just have an allergy in my eye and it makes my eye itch. But no, I mean, it's tragic. It's extremely tragic to see, that type of mindset, because to be a child, nobody ever, they never really think about it like that. God, I'm imagine what the children, when they go to school, and they go to a shitty school on top of that, and then you're being bullied, or you're going through these things because you just don't have money, you don't have resources, because the choices that your parents made, and it is at this point, in this juncture, in this time, in this place, we are making choices. We are
Once
making,
again, keep talking.
yeah,
We're gonna share the screen here.
yeah,
One more
we're,
time, one more
we're,
again.
we're making choices, and, we can't blame people when we make conscious choices. So all I can say is get into tech, get into something, get into a
Free
trade,
courses. Free
get in,
courses, y'all.
do something with yourself, you know, and it's
Mhm.
free, but what they say, people, when they use free materials, it's not always, not, people aren't always ambitious to utilize a free program, versus if you pay a PWI, what, $80,000. Uh,
And I'm with Dave on that one. That's the biggest scam ever. They'll call me a scammer, right? For asking for $200 an hour to get
and,
my brain power that I'm never gonna get back. This is the only time y'all gonna get me for free, honestly speaking.
mhm,
And I'm only listen. We only did this because Fareedah, I like talking to you. We gonna have to dice this down since the next time, because this was
yeah,
too much. This was too much of a, for me, it was a positive conversation that was
mhm,
needed, but
yeah,
it really should, these conversations, they don't need to be had on a free platform, because at the end of the
mhm,
day, it's like ain't nobody listening. And if you listening and you want to know more, you come behind the paywall. That's what you do.
right,
You
and
get you
that's,
get you get beyond the fluff and the stupidity on
yeah,
YouTube.
because that's where you'll have the serious engagement, when people are actually putting their resources in getting something in exchange for those resources. That's when people take things serious. It just seems like we got to pay a grip of money for something before we can take things seriously, but that's just, we just insist on learning the hard way. That's just kind of the lot, as a collective, that we've chosen in this life, and we have to, we end up lumping ourselves. I lump myself into the same collective, because
We're all in it. I'm not
we're
saying
all
it like
in it.
I'm exclusive over
Hmm.
here. It's like, no, I'm in it.
We're
That's
in
why
it.
I'm frustrated,
That's
guys.
why we're
That's why I'm
frustrated.
that's why I'm
We
frustrated.
wear this, and so we're by default in it, so we have no choice but to, to bring these things, and we're not a monolith. At the end of the day, I don't gotta like everybody, but can
Yep.
we come together and partner, and build this one thing? Can we invest in this one venture, that could pay us all? Can we buy this block? Can we do this, instead of just, I'm just gonna do it on my own because I don't trust you guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
And you're on your way to do it, without saying too much. You're on your way, I'm on my way, and I feel like we're all
mhm.
like
And this,
I think we're going to get it together. And I
we're gonna
think
get it,
that
and this
we're
is
all,
promising, because
yeah,
the
and
more that
everybody
we,
has a space. We all have a place
mhm,
in this thing to
I
make
feel
it.
the more that we have these conversations, and the more that
Mhm.
the more that we're the squeaky wheel, there's going to be that one person that says, "Oh, I hear you," and then they're going to do something big, and then it's going to be this effect, this effect of change, basically, an Obama like way. But like it's really going to be, I do see it. I am optimistic for us. I just think that we just are gonna. It's going to be a decision that we make. It's going to be a decision that we make, regardless of what we are doing and where we are. We're going to have to say, I'm going to work with my brothers and sisters to build this, even though I don't like these people, and I'm not going to marry these people, but I'm going to do business with these people. you know,
I'm telling you because okay, can I just say this one thing? And I always be saying I'm gonna be done, but I really am. We've been on here for 3.5.
know.
We gotta go.
I know
So
we got a 3-hour live.
and I know you're tired too, though. No, I appreciate you coming on though, because
Mhm.
you really put in some time. I'll say Dave did too. Dave was on for I think 2 hours with me that one night. So
Oh wow.
y'all the MVPs. I really love people that come on and just chat with me because I'm a chatterbox. But what I was gonna say is that when it comes to it, well, you know what, I'm gonna leave these interracial people alone. But what I noticed is that all right, and anybody that's in the chat that feels comfortable enough, which I know y'all do, 10 of y'all have been holding on strong. I commend y'all. Okay. Do you ever notice how we're the only ones that will accept everybody with a little drop
Yes.
of us? But you cannot go into another group
Mhm.
and say, I have one drop, guys. So I'm you. They be looking at you like, you
Yes.
better get the hell up out of here.
Right. There, these tropes from the thing is
Because
that
if
one
you're half
drop.
and half, can't you? If I was half and half,
Mhm.
I'm gonna ask this for Rita, and I'm gonna let you talk, girl. If I'm half and half, if I can say I'm black and everybody says, yeah, girl, that's
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
Why can't I say I'm the other half
Because
instead
you could
and go
know.
over there and claim it? Why can't I do that?
Because we know why. We
And that's
know
how we
why.
know we have been brainwashed.
Mhm. And
Why?
we
One drop rule. And I'm like, y'all, that's a symbolic ass victory. Y'all need to
mhm.
stop
Stop.
because they should be able to say, no, I'm not. I'm not
I'm
black.
not,
I'm white.
or multicultural or biracial or whatever.
Exactly.
I think
Because
that they should.
we are like
Mhm.
America's trash can, and we gotta
Mhm.
stop. We're like a waste
Yes.
field over here. We'll take everybody. We
Mhm.
take
And
everything. We
and
be like,
even people who are biracial say that. They're like, "Why do I have to claim that I'm this when I don't when I when I have my own sense of identity, as a multicultural
let me
person."
stop. Let me
I
tell these
mean,
biracials I love them. Hold on, because they're gonna be like, she don't like us. Y'all, half of my family is. That's why I could see it. That's why I'm
right.
like, y'all, where the black ones at? Do we have any full blood? We do. We
We
do. And girl, they
do.
chocolate. They like the color of my hair. And I'm like, thank God. Thank God
we,
for y'all. Y'all the last hope. I'm like, y'all the last hope.
in my family, we have mixed race people too in our family as well, but we're not icky about it. At least, like some people are icky about it, and it's just like, okay, that's
And I
enough.
think it's okay. I think it's
But
okay. I just think
mhm,
we need to notice how different we
mhm.
are from
And I
other groups because they don't be so willing to just take us in
mhm,
just because there's a drop. They be
there's
like,
a drop. No,
you the one that wasn't supposed to happen. We need you to
we don't need the secret out. We really don't. And you're not coming over here. And they'll tell you that. They let
yes.
them know. And it's like, but the thing is that's our fault because
Yeah.
we continue to feed into that one drop rule with something that came out of slavery, out of if those kids have drop the black blood, they're over there with you. That's kind of how that goes. And so
Like
we
what?
still hold on to it. We're the ones still holding on to it. That's the irony. Because you ask biracial people and they'll tell you, I identify as multicultural or biracial. I
Which
don't
is
have a
accurate.
problem with it, which is accurate, which is what
Yeah.
they should, and they should have the freedom to do it. We're the ones who are like, no, you're black, you gotta come above and to me and all this, and it's like, no,
And
we.
I was gonna say
Mhm,
this, since I want to bring it back around to the tech thing because everything we're talking
mhm.
about sounds like it's not related, but it is.
It is,
So I forget
it
who was
is.
talking about it the other day. They were talking about how the races get skewed in the
Mhm.
statistics,
Yeah.
and I agree with that because I look at racial data every day,
Mhm.
and even in the Section 8 space, what happens is they are, you guys know how it looks on the boxes.
Right.
You can check white
Mm-hmm.
and then not Hispanic or Hispanic.
Yeah.
So whites will always be the majority
Right.
because they always they lump the Latinos, the Hispanics from
Mm-hmm.
Spain. They,
Mm-hmm.
link all of South America. They link all of Europe.
Yep.
They link, even the Iranians. They link all
Mm-hmm.
of those people. And
Yeah.
Iranians be looking dark as me, and they talking about they
Mm-hmm.
Caucasian. I'm like,
They're
okay, whatever,
Caucasian.
dude.
Yeah. That's literally
So,
what they
but yeah,
identify.
but that's how they do it. So they manipulate it that way. So whenever it works in their favor to, to sway the statistics,
Mm-hmm.
they will say, yes, if you have a drop, go ahead and claim it. Whether you're
Yeah.
Hispanic or not, you get to be white. The only people that can't put white are the people that are listed on the race, which is
Mm-hmm.
Asians,
Mm-hmm.
Black people,
Mm-hmm.
American Indians can't say they're
Mm-hmm.
white either,
Mm-hmm.
but Latinos can. I
Can.
think that that's very strange because they're a
Interesting.
very large population, but they're allowing them to be Latina or
Mm-hmm.
being white, but not anybody else.
Yeah.
And then I think it was on it was either Erica or Diamond Dave's live stream, but we were talking about how Indians are actually
Mm-hmm.
Asian, and the
Yeah.
Indians in the Middle East, they're actually Asians.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
these groups, they're massive, you guys. But it's
Yeah.
like with us, like I said, we're trying to claim everybody, but we're doing it symbolically off paper where it
Off
doesn't even
paper.
matter.
Mm-hmm.
It
And
doesn't matter when you do it off
doesn't
paper,
matter.
y'all. Like it doesn't matter. So
No, like I said, it's something that we it's just that it's another, what is it?
Thanks for the Cash App, CB, whoever that is in the chat. Thank you.
But it's just another fish fry cookout. Have another prayer breakfast or whenever
Ain't
those.
nobody coming to my cookout. Ain't none of y'all coming. Fareedah coming, and that's about it. And then Cadano, you can come. We'll have a fireside chat. Cadano right here, he could come.
There you
Cadano,
go.
that's the OG right there. Cadano's cool.
Yeah.
He can come. But yeah, so that's all I'm saying. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to exclude sometimes. You're not
Mm-hmm.
doing it in an evil way, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's just to strengthen. That's the
Just,
only
yeah.
reason. It's
And when it comes to lineage, people take those things very seriously. When we talk about lineage and heritage and things like that, for, like I said, for reparations in terms of, foundational Black Americans, that lineage matters. So we can't be just doing these, hanging on to these tropes from, from slavery. Really, that's what it is, from white supremacy. That's a white supremacist trope, the one drop rule.
oh,
When
they're
we do that,
religious
we are,
too. Oh God.
when we say, biracials have to claim Black, we're really being white supremacist. I mean, I'm sorry, but
We're
yeah,
doing those young people a disservice. Like,
yeah, we're
I have,
doing we're doing
yeah,
ourselves a disservice, because
and
if
I
we
think it's
allow,
okay to
if
say
we,
multi. That's
it's,
okay.
I think they it's, if we're going to be accurate, they, and a lot of, from what I've talked to biracial people, they embrace that identity. They embrace being biracial. They embrace that because that is generally who they are. They feel
Yeah,
confused when they're lumped into a group that, may or may not connect with, depending on who raised them and what experiences they had.
yeah.
So, not everybody has a blissful, Blackish experience, like they play on TV. Some people, it is what it is. So we have to stop as Black people hanging on to really these racist tropes, because really that's what it is, and we're playing into that. So I think, yeah, they need to just, some people, it's like we want to be everything else but ourselves. We want to be all these other things, but we just don't want to be. It's so bad to be Black, and that's the tragedy. We want
Girl,
to be
because
all
the
these other.
marketing worked. The marketing worked. It worked so good. It worked on us too, where
Us.
we don't even want to be it, right?
We
Like,
have to. We have to
unless we're
give them.
protesting, then we want to be,
Mhm.
But anyway,
I'm
girl,
telling
let me
you.
stop. What
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you before I take
Mhm.
off, uh, if anybody has questions about IT, since we're
Yes.
gonna bring it back home, since we had that whole girl, I gotta take this one down.
Yes. They can reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I'm just,
What's your LinkedIn? Do they just Google your name
just,
or
yeah.
how do
If
they
you just go on LinkedIn and type in Fareedah James, the name that, that you'll see my name. You can find me, and you'll see my picture and everything like that. So if you want to reach out and connect to me, you can do that on LinkedIn. In fact, I'm connected to Erica on LinkedIn as well. So if you're
Mhm.
connected to Erica on LinkedIn, then you'll see me in her connections as well. Um, but yeah, I'm not really on Instagram. I'm not a social media person. I'm just a regular person, just trying to bring more and more people into tech that look like me. That's all I'm trying to do each day.
Well, I'm
But
gonna get my certification. You stay on top of me for that because I think I'm gonna do it just for the hell of it, and
you
it's so much better
should.
than a $40,000 degree that ain't nobody don't
Ain't
nobody
nobody
cares
gonna
about.
use, and even if you don't work in the field, just imagine you're gonna have more technical knowledge than the average person, and
Mhm.
you'll just be at dinner parties talking about you know switching protocols and MAC addresses and
I love it.
all these other things and different hardware stacks and things like that and different
Mhm.
topologies, network topologies and things like that. You'll just be that person, and you'll have even more of a deeper understanding in technology and where these things are going, and that's going to make you a better investor. That's going to make you a better business person. That's going to make
Mhm.
you a better business partner, just to have that knowledge in that game, that domain knowledge of
Yeah.
technical, of those infrastructures and things like that. So, like I said, what we've talked about, throughout this conversation, all of it is relative. If we are going to be as a collective, uh,
I'll
our
be
first,
right back. Keep talking to the people. I will be right back,
and
okay?
I just think that, yeah, oh, go ahead. If we are going to survive, we're going to have to either have skill sets, we're going to have to own things, we're going to have to leverage ourselves in a monetary sense, in an economic sense. And there's only a few ways to do that, and that's through ownership, investments, and businesses. And if that's not something that we want to do, then your reality will be just whatever that will be. um, Tech is an awesome opportunity. It's given me a lot of opportunities, a lot, and I still have other opportunities moving forward. You know, there's just so many other. There's just so much, that I think our people could benefit from in that space. If you're going to have a job, you might as well have a really good, high-paying job. Have a job where you have some work-life balance, and a job that is actually going to pay you. You know, pay you pay you to the extent that inflation, won't be bothersome. So I'm an advocate for tech, but find a trade. If it's carpentry, if it's being an electrician, being a plumber, those are trades. Those are very lucrative, very, very. There's a lot of infrastructure that within those trades that's undermanned at this point. So find something, do something, and build something. That's basically what I want to leave everyone with. Otherwise, your reality will be whatever your reality will be, and you might not like it, and you might not know what to do when you get there. And it can be very. I don't want to be bleak, but you know if you're not prepared, if you're not thinking about these things, if they're not a priority to you, it's obvious what the outcomes are. So I will leave you with that. And again, reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have questions. Um, if other people are working at other another tech in tech in other capacities at other
Oh, you know what?
organizations or um, businesses or anything like that, or nonprofits, whatever you're doing, reach out to me. Um, Let me know what you do and everything like that. Let's build a network, and let's not gatekeep each other out. Let's try to give ourselves a hand up. And if they can have nepotism and favoritism, and I don't see why we shouldn't. I don't see why we shouldn't. Why can't we look out for each other? Why can't I see the potential in someone that looks like me? Why is it that's we have to prove ourselves? I can do that. So
For sure. All right, I just wanted to put extreme stuff up there too because he'd be wilding out. Okay, so yes, guys, please reach out to Fareedah on LinkedIn and get your professional circle broadened.
mhm,
Okay, I hope you found this helpful because we just wanted to show you there are different facets of tech.
mhm,
No two jobs are the same, and there's a million and one careers in that field. And I
Mhm.
think it's a very unique opportunity for people that look like me and Fareedah
Mhm.
and whoever's watching this, people that look like you, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I definitely hope that they link up with you.
Mhm.
And guys, you know, those of you that rocked out this entire 3 some odd hours, whatever,
Hey,
thank you guys so much. I
awesome.
know it went all around the world and but we brought you back. So,
But it's all relative. It's all relative. It's all connected. It's all
Farida,
connected. So
thank you so much for coming
mhm.
on. And I have to have you back
I
for
will come back. I
sure.
will definitely want to come back and do this again. I will have a better setup. I promise. I'll get it together.
Girl,
And
you
I,
just got off work. It's all good. Like, don't trip. We gonna get you straight because y'all. Well, I don't know if you want to say it yet, but you might see Farida again somewhere. You know,
somewhere.
you might see her on the screen again. You never know.
You never
So
know. Hopefully, I won't be wearing my high vis at this point,
I
but
know, right?
mhm.
But no,
But you know,
you did great, and I
this
think
is the reality. This is what it looks like. But listen, I get paid. I ain't I don't need to worry about getting through the end of the week for my check. I'm good.
you could do polo, reflective
Mhm.
gear, pajamas. There's IT
There
jobs for
you go.
everybody from all walks of life, you
Mhm.
guys. So I hope you guys found this helpful. And Farida, if you can stay on, I'm
I
gonna
will.
go ahead and end the broadcast. But guys, follow her on LinkedIn and follow me too because I need people. So yeah, go ahead and find us there, and we will see you guys on the next video. Have a great, happy weekend, and I'll see you sometime next week, you guys. All right, Credit
Bye.
Solutionist out.
Bye.